Smash that go live button and subscribe to that like.
You're
Wait,
live.
hold on. Which way round do these words go?
I don't know. I got called out on VR chat last night. I was talking about YouTube and stuff like that, and someone was just like, "All right, Boomer, you don't ring the bell. You've got to hit the bell." And like they were being facetious and stuff, but I was just like, I don't even know what you say anymore. I don't know what the terms are.
Give me them hype points. All of them. Give me all of your hype points.
Have you seen the Alexa FaZe Rug gaming advert?
Nope.
Okay, I need you to open your phone, pull up like YouTube, and just or just platform of your choice and search Alexa gaming advert. I would pull it up on stream, but we don't have some speakers plugged into this system, so.
Oops. That's how you spell gaming.
Right. Yeah, this one. Yeah. Yeah, that one. All right, perceive this.
Oh, hold on. Time to lock in.
This is a real
remind me of
person.
my winning streak?
You haven't dropped around in 2 weeks.
Let's go! Alexa, I just crushed that round.
I knew you had it in the bag. You are goated with the sauce, FaZe Rug.
Should we send Sherman the same Take This L gift again?
What about 1,000 tissue boxes this time? Check your Amazon cart.
Oh, I'm dead. This is a must-cop.
We're linking and building over here.
Hell yeah, Alexa.
This is a real advert.
Hold on. Time to lock in.
Make it stop now. That's a real advert, and I don't. Yeah, I understand that even kids will watch that and be like, "What is this cringe?" But still, it blows my mind that this streamer guy, FaZe Rug, or whichever one he is, because there are much of them.
Oh, I see. That's a supposedly famous
a real person. Yeah.
Oh, I see. That's a supposedly famous individual.
Yes. As
okay.
Yeah. Very, very scornfully saying supposedly famous about the FaZe clan members is extremely funny, and I support this. So yeah. However, it's just like, God, cringe-vertisement is a thing.
Mm.
Yeah. Do you think they did it on purpose?
Now is a good time to insert adverts.
I'm dead. Just
Yeah. Oh. How's that any different to millennials going lol IRL?
Oh. I don't know, man. There is
it's okay.
Satire is dead. I can't tell what's real anymore.
It's okay. Just because things are now Mondio uncool.
It's Mondo, not Mondio. That's no good.
And you are overly free radicaled.
Look, in my defense, I never would have described something as Mondo cool.
And you are, in fact, so far out, you are in.
I am off the chain.
Exactly.
Hi everyone, welcome to the show. We're here. BIOS video is very interesting. Thank you very much. Yeah, that video ended up being really well received. I'm very happy because like it's nothing that I haven't done in a video several times before, and I've done it like on the podcast several times and stuff like that. But the idea was to bring it all into a single coherent video, you know.
It seemed more coherent.
Yeah.
It seemed slicker.
I scripted.
It seemed like you actually knew what you were doing.
Yeah. Also,
compared to the one you recorded on a laptop at the front counter one time, and you just didn't really seem like you knew what you were doing because you had 2 sets of software fail on you during the video.
Yeah. And like that one did work because, well, that one was kind of interesting because sometimes showing things going wrong is itself informational because it shows how to approach things going wrong while you're trying to do the thing. However, that wasn't what I wanted for this video, and this video was actually a complete reshoot. the first take wasn't scripted, and just so much went wrong. I was at the bench recording that video for 4 hours, last week. I think it was. I can't remember what night it was. It was like not this Thursday just gone, but the Thursday before or something like that. No, it would have been Wednesday. 4 hours I was recording footage for that, and like the reason why the video then got further delayed was I recorded the footage and I was walking home thinking like maybe I can salvage something out of that, like bit of voiceover here, some good editing. There's got to be enough to work with in all of that footage. But in the end, I was just like, couldn't even bear to start looking at it. And I was like, instead, I sat down and started writing a script instead. And surprise, surprise, yeah. When I script, I don't want to script every video because a lot of my video format is discovery. It's figuring it out as I go and people watching the process.
I think educational videos on this is how you do the thing.
Yeah.
Scripting it probably helps.
Yeah. It also just meant that the video ended up being half an hour instead of an hour. It easily would have been an hour long if I hadn't scripted.
Yeah,
just simply because like you can tell straight away, and like I noticed when I was editing, just straight away I'm talking at twice the speed that I normally would because I'm reading a script, and that just means the information density goes up,
I think it's bad that I didn't notice.
What, the change in voice speed?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Fair. So yes. Mainboard medic explained why power is needed. Yeah, I mean power is needed sometimes because MOSFET gating. Yeah. Anyway, but yes, yeah. Anyway, yeah. Video was extremely well received. Very happy with it, and also I have lots of ideas on formatting for the future. There's lots of bits that I didn't. There's quite a few bits that I didn't cover. And I'm quite happy because I've thought of a solution to how to do that. Like I did have someone say, "Oh, how did you wire up the SPI thing?" And I replied to their post saying, "Well, that's the problem. It's different per motherboard, but I'll show you how I buzzed it out." And I'm like, I didn't want to show that in the video because it would have added another 15 minutes onto the runtime.
But now that's a 15-minute video.
Exactly. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another. I'm probably going to shoot this during the week, and I'm going to do in between videos. So this was episode 1 of the BIOS crash course. I'm going to do an episode like 1.1, and I'm going to refer to these as the hotfix videos, where there's like a 1.1 where it's just like this is something that was a bit too awkward to fit into a formal lesson video, but is more information for if you're like, okay, I'm super interested in this, give me more, so yeah, because like, yeah, so I can show, I'm going to do some extra hotfix videos, and like some of the hotfix videos are also possibly going to be just like Q&A stuff where people have asked good questions in the comments of stuff that either I got wrong that needs clarifying, or stuff or just things that I missed where I'm like, that's a good point, here's the answer to your question. And so, yeah, I can just do some follow-up and just be like, here's extra stuff that either needs clarifying, correcting, or just more stuff people ask that I think is worth sharing, and those can be just very quick videos. So, yeah. So, yes, be careful not to speak too fast. I mean, I'm not a fast speaker even when I'm scripting. So, yeah. So yes, but yeah. Anyway, research into why it's not standard. Just because it's not standard because it just doesn't need to be. I
guess it's also because it isn't a standard.
Yeah, it is not a standard. It's a debugging port. It's just a development port. So yeah, different trace engineering, different platforms. Yeah. So yes. However, it's worth talking about because pretty much every modern motherboard, by the looks of things, has an SPI header next to the BIOS chip these days.
How old can you go?
I don't know. However, like this is a B450 and it's got one. And I think I've got another B450 over here. Yeah, here's another B450, and this one has one as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like at the very least, B450 has an SPI header on it. If you pulled up, like, yeah, I mean, if you pulled up an old one, you can probably see it from pictures of the board. Yeah, if you can see a pin header next to the BIOS chip, that's going to be a SPI bus. There's probably too many
Thanks.
covers over that. Yeah. So yes, I think it's probably worth showing this, because if you're a home DIY user, buzzing out and pinning up one of these might just be your best option, in my opinion. So yeah, I still have beefs with in-circuit flashing, but it does work. Certainly, definitely on desktop boards like that, I think it is a viable option. So yeah. Yes, MacBook Neo, I do have opinions. I'll get to that in a moment, but yeah. MSI's been doing it for a long time, on many series at least. Yeah, that's fair. This one I've got in front of me is an ASRock, but yeah, the other one I just picked up was actually, no, that's... This one's an Asus, and the one that I featured in the video was an MSI. So yeah, that's 3 different brands that all have the SPI bus next to the BIOS chip. So yeah, I think I think that's a fairly reliable option. Once again, I still think desoldering is better, but if you're DIYing at home and you don't have soldering equipment, you know, it's plausible for you to pin up a header and buy a cheap programmer, but then in order to fix your motherboard. But then saying you've got to go and buy a soldering iron, a hot air station, and all the associated accessories for it, that now at that point you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to go and buy a new motherboard now, you know. So yeah. Wafflefin says, I looked up what SPI stands for. You know it's going to be a good Wikipedia article when it calls it a de facto standard, parentheses, with many variants. You know? How I know what they're saying. I understand, you know, because the thing about SPI is that what makes it really good is that you can bodge it in many different ways and it still works. It's a really robust interface. You can do something that is very fancy or very basic and make something work. However, that phrasing is extremely funny, yes. Same as USB then? Not even slightly. I mean, they're both serial. However, the thing about SPI is you don't need like intelligent control. You can bit bang over SPI. You can't really bit bang with USB in a reasonable sense, I don't think. And for those of you who don't know, bit bang means theoretically I could sit with wires and I can just get a wire and I can just telegram SPI messages across if I do it in the correct sequence. That would be extremely difficult to do by hand, but theoretically you could do that.
Hello, this is my 11 board
yeah, exactly.
SPI connection.
But like, if you're only shifting a couple of bytes in and out, that's fine. Yeah. You know, because like if you're just trying to talk to a thermal sensor and you just want to bit shift in the instruction that says tell me the temperature and then listen back for the sequence that was the temperature reading, you could theoretically do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what makes SPI super interesting. Is that yeah. Anywho. Yes, yeah. Hello, Pianov. Yeah. CH341A that everyone gets because it's cheap. Yeah, it's also at least reliable. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in fairness, yeah, because no error handling and stuff like that. In fairness, usually a Verify will get you past that. I haven't had major issues with it. But that much being said, though, like I said, this was one of the reasons why I put a lot of emphasis on the T76 and been like, this is better though, you should buy this, you know. If you're actually serious about this, buy an XG Pro, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yes, there's already fake CH347s out there. I don't know. I haven't looked that closely yet. I've bought one. I did do reads with it. However, it wasn't detecting the chip I had on the board that I was working on very well. And like I was getting successful reads, but it was having issues writing to the chip and stuff like that. And this was happening during the first take of the video, where just I was there for ages and a lot went wrong. Because in the original take of the video, I wanted to use a different programmer for each method that I was doing. So not I was changing the method, but also people were seeing an example of each of these programmers in action as I went. So they could be like, so they were seeing different bits of software that all followed the same pattern. So just like, you know, as a demonstration that whichever one you buy, it works in approximately the same way.
Yeah.
You know, you've got your buffer, you've got your read, write, auto detect, and so on. However, when I came to doing the CH347, that was one of the things that added like an hour onto my bench time, because I spent ages trying to track down software for it, and then it didn't work with the chip properly, and then I ended up having to retake that section. So I had, because that hadn't worked properly, I had to do a retake, and that meant that in the edit, the programmer would have changed half, like there would have been a cut between reading and writing where the programmer changed and things like that. And that's why at the end of all of it, I was like, no, we're just reshooting the whole thing. Throw it all out, just do it again. Sometimes the shoot is just unsalvageable, and considering this was a repeatable process, not a one-time fix kind of thing, I'm like, just go back and reshoot it, you know? And yeah. There's been many times where I've watched other YouTube videos where they've been doing something and all kinds of things have gone wrong, and I'm just like, my brother in Christ, why didn't you just reshoot this? You know? So yeah, whatever. Hello, Paige.
Yes.
Yes.
I thought it came out well ultimately.
Yes, overall very happy. How's the mattress promotion going? I haven't checked if they've gotten back to me yet. I'll quickly pull up my emails now and just quickly check, just out of interest. I got an email from a smart mattress, an AI mattress company. Now I actually need a new mattress, so part of me was just like, I'll take a free mattress that's like $2,000, thanks. And like the idea is it automatically adjusts to the contours of your body and stuff, and it doesn't require an app or an internet connection through normal operation, but through careful reading of the FAQ, it sounds like you need an app to initially set it up. And that's a deal breaker for me. I'm just like, no, I'm not installing an app for my goddamn mattress. And I said so I replied to them and I said,
It's actually a mattress.
So I replied to them and I said, if this can be used without the app, like if I can just plug it in and it works, then yes, I will promote your mattress, because I'm not opposed to an electric mattress that automatically adjusts. Maybe that's super cool. What I am opposed to is something where I have to sign into an app and activate my mattress. Now that's ridiculous, you know. So yeah, so I said that's my condition basically. So let me check my. I'll see if they've actually replied to me yet. Sent messages.
Your Matt AI Truss.
Are you done?
No. I'm here for another 2 hours.
Apparently so.
And so are you.
No, they have not replied to me yet. So we'll see. I'm not holding my breath. So yeah. All right.
Yes. Topographic mattress. Mattress. Yes. Very good.
A self-heating mattress would sound neat. Yeah, if you're people like me who's just perpetually cold, but then like, just put electric blanket, man. Like I don't use an electric blanket at the moment, although I should have this winter. But yeah, like electric blankets are great. Like you don't need to buy a really expensive mattress, just buy a £20 electric blanket.
Says me sleeping under a 3.5 tog duvet.
Yeah, with a onesie on, yeah.
No!
Wait, how much is 3.5 tog? Is that a lot or a little?
It's the lowest.
That's the lowest. Okay,
They go up to 13 or 14.
Yeah. To be honest, my duvet is probably down to 3.5 tog because it's just flattened over time. I need to get a new one. There's nothing better than getting a new winter duvet and like you pull it up and your duvet is like this thick up on top of yourself and you're like, yes.
I am a child again.
Yeah.
Hello.
All right. Coming back on topic, William Rollinger says, I used an RT809F and found it was very useful. Saved 2 monitors by flashing them. Interesting. I've never run into firmware issues on a monitor. Well, I have run into a firmware issue on a monitor before. I have a video about it from way back, but that's like the only time I've ever seen it. And that the only reason why that one had failed is that someone had been trying to firmware update it and had a power cut during a firmware update. So, like, yeah. Do monitors just... Is firmware issues actually a thing with monitors? Because I've never actually thought to check when I've encountered a monitor that doesn't work. So,
The only times I've ever encountered monitors that don't work, they're so old, I'm like, I want a new monitor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
It's rare, but with the TV more. Yeah, that's potential, I suppose, yeah. Yeah. That much being said, though, I'm fairly certain that the XG Pro series, I think those can do screens as well. I don't quote me on that, but I think you have to get like the wiring harness for it. Whereas the cool thing about the RT809F is it just has a HDMI port on the side. But yeah, I think you could buy a wiring harness to connect a T76 to a monitor. So.
Yes. What are your thoughts on the Neo?
MacBook Neo. I think it's cool. I'm into it. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to rush out and buy one. However, a brand new MacBook. I know it's a mobile chip, but also like Apple Silicon is really good. We know that mobile chip is fine for a netbook, which is what this is. It's a netbook. That's fine. And it's an aluminium chassis with a really good display and will probably have good speakers. And it's
only got a USB 2 port.
Sure, but like it has a USB 3 port as well, you know. And like, what are you doing on a netbook where you need multiple high-speed USB ports? You know.
I guess, but it's also the fact of it's 2026, man. I expect better out of my connectivity.
Cool, but consider this then. Do you think the iPad Air is a bad product because that's $600 and only has one port on the bottom and doesn't even have a keyboard?
But it's not a laptop, and it's
it's
not
the same
sold as a
price.
laptop.
This is the same price as that, and it does more.
It's not sold as a laptop. That's the same as saying my car can't drive up a mountain because it's a sports saloon. It's a different class of vehicle. Or like, I can't move my house down the road because it hasn't got wheels. It's a different class of...
let me take your example and twist it slightly. Let's say you buy an SUV, and like a proper off-roader SUV, let's pretend that costs, imaginary numbers here, £50,000 or something for a proper off-roading SUV. What if they sold you a £30,000 SUV and they were like, yeah, it's not very good off-road, but the idea is this is just for people who like the SUV form factor. They like the high riding position, still drives down the road just great. You just don't take it off-road.
Maybe, but also now it's markedly cheaper.
Yeah, and the Neo is half the price of the equivalent of the other Apple laptops. If you want an Apple laptop that does everything that a laptop should do, it's going to cost you 4 figures.
But also USB 3 doesn't cost £400.
I'll concede there are a couple of strange options.
USB 3 costs $1 in a controller chip.
Yeah, that's probably because of oddities with the A18?
A16.
A16, yeah.
Well, it's also the fact of it's not even a modern mobile phone chip. It's 4 phones old. No. Sorry, it's...
Yeah, it's not that far.
Sorry, it's 2 phones old.
Yeah. So, fine.
So it's just kind of a case of... and also it's binned down, so it's got a weaker GPU than the mobile phone would have in a laptop with a high resolution screen.
Yeah, but like again, this thing isn't for gaming.
No, but
Fine.
it's just a case
Yeah.
of it's weaker than the mobile phone
Yeah.
it came out of.
Fine, but also it's going to be fine for its intended purpose. It's not supposed to
Yeah,
game.
I guess
you
it's
know.
also just a fact
And
of
all-
they put
and
a
like-
proper M1 chip in an iPad.
Yeah, but also that iPad costs more. It's $600 with a metal chassis and a Retina display. And like, yeah, the USB's kind of lame, and yeah, the battery is not as big as they could have put in a battery that's twice the size and had double the runtime. But $600, and also I know it's £600 when you take the UK pricing. £600
UK
is,
pricing is a bit weak.
yeah, exactly.
But-
The UK pricing is not great, but the US pricing at $600,
Yeah.
like you find me a better option for
Brand
that.
new.
Brand new.
Yeah.
You know, brand new laptop, $600. You find me a better choice. I dare you. You know.
Yeah. I think I also just have concerns given how I've seen Tahoe run on anything other than like M4, M5.
Yeah.
That gives me pause.
Yeah, I mean, that much being said, though, I think, like, obviously, benchmarks, take those for what you will, but someone said apparently, like, the CPU, the single-thread CPU bench for the A16 is, like, higher than an M1 or something like that.
Oh, I see.
So, like,
Yeah.
theoretically, you know, if it is at least as good as an M1, then it's fine, because M1s will run Tahoe just fine. You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. All it has to do is be as good as an M1 and it's fine. And the M1 came out in 2020.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Framework laptops still a thing? Yeah, they're going strong.
But they're also like
They're expensive.
$1,400.
Yeah, like completely different class. They're not part of this conversation. However, yes, Framework is
would-
alive and well, and I
and-
wish them the best.
I would say probably actually for the person who's for anyone who was even remotely considering Apple products, the Neo's a better laptop for them than the Framework laptop is anyway.
Probably, yeah. The Framework is for a specific individual, make no
Yeah.
mistake.
And I think
Yeah.
that's actually a mega niche
Probably.
because just seeing more recent reviews of it from more places, I'm just kind of like, the build
Yeah.
quality doesn't overly seem to be there on the Framework.
No?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like the amount of like flex in it and like the rattlingness of the parts because it's modular.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, it doesn't feel 1,400 currency premium or
Yeah.
1,200 currency premium kind of thing, and it's just kind of like
Yeah.
you're paying for its features.
Yes, I was going.
in
I
more
think,
than just money.
I think that might just have to be a sacrifice you make. You know.
Yeah. No. I'm
And
which
so you
I'm
have
saying
to
it
decide
makes
what's
it that
yeah,
niche.
That's it. So you
Yeah.
have to decide what's important to you at that point, which is fair.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'd certainly be interested in actually using a Neo to form a
Yeah.
fuller opinion on it, but it's certainly a case where I'm just kind of like, it feels like Apple could have done better without actually charging any more for it.
Yes, although that much being said as well. So two things. Yeah, I agree. I think they could have done more. Although like the USB 2 port is very strange, and I'm curious as to how big of a problem it would have been to get another USB 3 port into the A16 Pro, because that's the problem. If that chip
Yeah.
only has one USB port because it was designed for a phone, then what do you do?
It will have two
you know?
USB ports because it supported a USB 3 for the Pro Max and USB 2 for the non-Pro Maxes.
There you go then. So it's got two ports, the
Yeah.
3 and the 2, and that's why the laptop only has
yeah.
them. So that's my point.
But it's
So-
also, my point is kind of a case of a dedicated USB 3 controller chip is pennies.
Sure, but what are you going to connect that to if it doesn't have any I/O because it was designed to plug to be in a phone?
Don't use a phone processor in a laptop.
So in that case, it just shouldn't exist.
Well, I don't know.
What's your, like, yeah, like at that point you
and
just
also-
say at that
Doesn't
point.
it also not have MagSafe charging? So it's only got two ports and only supports charging over the USB 3 one.
Correct, but I don't. Hot take: I think MagSafe is overrated in the year 2026.
Well, yeah, but I mean the fact of you can only charge from one port,
Yeah.
which is your high-speed port. So if you're charging it, you now only have a low-speed
Oh
port.
yeah. I don't know if you can charge from the USB 2 port. I don't know the answer
Yeah.
to that.
That's what I thought I saw in the overview I saw.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of a case of
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you have to be charging it,
That-
which, given it's a mobile chip, you probably won't have to charge it that often.
No, yeah, that would be super lame
It's
if you
just-
can't that would be super lame if you can't charge it over the USB 2 port. You can charge on both sets of
that's
sector.
cool.
Yeah,
That's
good.
fine then.
I would have been surprised by that because that is an extremely easy problem to solve. Like you don't need I/O on the CPU and stuff to solve that problem. That can be solved with a
Yeah.
pennies thing on the inside. So yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. As I say, I don't think it's that big of a deal because the fact of the matter is people don't plug stuff into their laptops. Now again, I do like a laptop with good I/O. However, the reason why Apple took away all the ports in the first place was because people didn't use them, and to an extent, they're not wrong. Which is not to say you shouldn't have I/O on a laptop, but the fact does remain is that 9 times out of 10 it doesn't matter. So yeah. I think it's cool. I like it. It's not something that I'm going to go out and buy because I don't need it. I would rather buy a second-hand one. I think, what I'm hoping to see is that its existence at its price point is going to compress the price ceiling on the second-hand market because M2s and M3s are still kind of annoyingly expensive. Like the M1 is really getting long in the tooth, which is not to say it's bad. Like if you own an M1, you're fine. But at the moment, I still buy in second-hand M1s and sell them second-hand through the shop, and I'm like, kind of want to be selling something newer than 2020.
Yeah.
I'm selling 5-year-old laptops. I would like to be selling something newer than that. But the M2s are, last time I checked, the M2s were still like, 450 to 500 to buy on eBay, and I'm like, that's still like by the time I've bought that in and put profit on top of that, I'm charging like 500 minimum, and that's not what people want to spend on a second-hand device. People want to spend like 300 to 400 on a second-hand laptop. So, however, hopefully the existence of the Neo will push down those second-hand prices and make the M2s affordable, and then I'm going to be like, cool, I'm not going to buy a Neo, but I will buy an M2 for £400. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
When does support end for the M1s? I don't know. That's the other problem with them. Like, if we assume that Apple provides 5 years of support for things, which is the typical thing, then the M1 is kind of end of life. However, also, it's been aging incredibly well. So it seems like there's no plan on ending support for it for at least another couple of years. But, yeah. Back reading the chat. What's overlooked is the purpose of the product is to compete with the new Samsung desktop mode on their new phones. I don't agree, because you find me a normie who's going to plug a monitor into their phone, a monitor, keyboard, and mouse into their phone. Like, who does that, man? I know it's there, and also, like, I know you can get like frames where you just like plug your phone in and it's got a screen, and it just, like, I can't remember now, but I'm sure I've seen someone who I'm sure I've seen like a chassis where it's just the keyboard, trackpad, and screen, and you plug your phone into it, and it uses Samsung DeX. But like, no one's buying that, man.
Oh, I can't remember.
You know, I don't see it. I don't see it taking
remember.
off. I think it's a great idea. I just don't see it taking off.
I can't remember who it was. Yeah, someone sold that, and the phone was the trackpad.
That's a cool idea, yeah. But yeah.
I can't remember who did that.
yeah.
Someone did that, and yeah, the phone was a trackpad, and that kind of made sense.
Yeah. Steve Higgins says, I nearly bought one of those. Then I came to my senses and got a proper laptop. For a power user, 100%. I think it's an interesting idea because, like, I say often about basically all wearables that have, all wearable devices where they talk about how it's got this new amazing CPU in it. And I'm like, we're already carrying a computer. Why are we not using the computer that we're carrying in our pockets? That's why we have it. So I think the idea of like just a chassis that you just plug your phone into and let your phone do the compute, I think that's a great idea. But yeah, for power users though, I don't know, man. Yeah. Let's see.
I quite liked it. I've only used it once or twice, just kind of because I was just like, oh, this is a thing that exists. And looked at it and was just like, oh yeah, I can see how this could kind of be useful. But the biggest limitation with it is it's still using mobile apps.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's going to be the big issue. So yes. That much being said though, with, you know, we're moving into, with the existence of like the Windows on ARM, if Samsung, well, no, I mean, that much being said though, this brings us back to the issue of I'm not going to guess percentages or anything, but a large percentage of people could do their entire workloads just in browser. In which case, your
the problem
operating
was
system,
the browser was still a mobile phone browser.
Okay, yeah. If they can, if Samsung for DeX loaded up their phones with an actual full-fat browser that would do everything a desktop browser could do, like guaranteed kind of thing, which to me seems like they should be able to do that fairly easily. It's just a matter of like they just currently don't, because that's not what the form factor is for. But if they just reconfigured their current browser, that seems very easy to solve, and like 90% of people just need a browser. You know, like Luke from LTT has been saying this a lot recently about, like, you know, them doing their Linux challenge and stuff like that. He's been saying like, so much of what I do is just in browser, and I'm entering a stage where I don't actually think I'd give a. He said, paraphrasing, I don't think I actually care what operating system I'm running anymore. As long as it runs a browser, that is all I need.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, for his Linux challenge, he's just like, oh, run whatever, give me Arch, give me Mint, give me anything. It doesn't matter. All I'm going to do is open a browser and do it all in browser.
Yeah.
So in which case, you can just have the most stripped out operating system you like, because all it has to do is run the browser.
Yeah.
And so again, this is why the Neo is great, because I'm surprised the Neo actually runs Mac OS Tahoe. I'm surprised it doesn't just run iOS. But then at that point, I guess maybe they thought it would have been. Maybe they thought it would have been
so confusing for the average user.
Yeah, maybe they thought it would be too confusing between the iPad and the MacBook Neo. Because if
they'd called it the iPad Neo,
yeah,
and put an iPad OS on it,
yeah,
and had it effectively always have a keyboard case on it,
yeah,
I think that would have been different.
Yeah, see, to me, I don't mind. However, I agree with what you're saying, though. Yeah, and I'm curious.
And then
Yeah.
that could have run iPad OS.
This is one of those times where I would love to sit down with like the Apple like marketing division or the product design team and like actually ask them that question and be like, so why make it a MacBook? Like, why didn't you just make it an iPad with in a laptop chassis? You know,
because that's not what iPads are. I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. I guess that's yeah.
And they didn't want to put a touchscreen in it and Gorilla RAM.
Yeah, I guess, because yeah, if it doesn't have a touchscreen, then it's not an iPad, and you don't want to putting a touchscreen on a laptop. Shoot me, touchscreens on laptops are stupid, except for very specific circumstances, you know.
I think small touchscreens on laptops are stupid. I think like touchscreens on like a 16-inch or something starts making sense, just because the screen can actually be big enough for the touch targets.
Yeah, maybe.
And you can have some density.
Yeah.
That sort of size, they kind of make sense as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, you can do all this with the Magic Keyboard. This is true. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, when I was saying that, I was thinking of you for a moment there, Paige. Yeah, like artists are the use case for laptops with touchscreens, especially when they're 360 ones, because you can flip it over, use it in tent mode, and draw on screen. So that's the use case for them. But like a lot of people want them just on general laptops that aren't even 2-in-1s. So yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. However, yes, I agree. I think you're right there, is that they wanted it to be a laptop form factor. And if it's a laptop form factor, then it can't be an iPad. And if it's not an iPad and it's not an iPhone, then it can't be running iOS. So yeah, that just must have been the rationale there. And yeah.
Sorry, I completely misread that message. And I read that as I love my Lenovo Yoga blender. And I was like, Lenovo make blenders? They have a blender called a Yoga? No!
I'm curious about using a touchscreen for Blender. Yeah. Yeah, I guess it would work. But like, yeah. How does that work though? Because like you need keyboard controls for Blender. So like, are you using it in the laptop form factor, and are you gorilla arming in order to have keyboard controls, or are you using it like tented with like some hotkeys or something like that? Surely pen input isn't enough, because but then that much being said, how many hotkeys do I actually need for Blender? Certainly if I was using a pen, so like I don't need to hotkey everything at that point, I can just tap on buttons, you need fewer hotkeys. So yeah, that's an interesting thought. Yeah.
Also, I guess depending on what kind of pen and so on you've got, you wouldn't need hotkeys for different sizes of things. That can be done through pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I'd like to pinch each vertex with your fingers. Forget touch, give us VR. Yeah, I need to get into Resonite, because Resonite you can build 3D worlds in game, which is a really cool concept to me. But Resonite has a very steep learning curve, and it runs like garbage. So you have to be prepared for a rough ride with it. And also the problem there is you're building for Resonite, not for a Blender project. So yeah, but still. Yeah, it would be cool to...
That's cool.
I would be super interested. I've not really researched this actually. Maybe it exists, like XR, like augmented reality interfaces for Blender. Surely someone has thought of this. That makes me curious.
I know HTC worked with, I'm going to say Autodesk.
That makes sense, yeah. Yeah, because like, this is one of the business use cases for VR.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like there's this mysterious, like whenever talking about VR, because I've still, in the back of my brain, I still want to make a video about VR. Just as a 30,000 foot overview on like what is modern VR, what is it being used for, what can you do with it, and what state is the industry in and where is it going, kind of thing. And part of that would be what I use it for and what I have used it for. Just because for people who have never owned a VR headset, they basically just don't really know what's the deal with VR. Like, is it good now? And it's like, yeah, it has been for a while. Does it have any uses? Kind of. It depends. It has a lot of use if you like the things that it does. But if you don't want to do the things that it's good at, then no, it is not useful, which is why it has not taken off and never will take off. But yeah. Yeah. Speaking of which, at some point I still kind of like ML33CG just said I use VR for sim racing. I still kind of want to put together a sim rig on account that I think because you're currently not using your Fanatec setup, are you?
No.
Yeah, I kind of want, because like part of me kind of wants to be like, if I buy a frame for £100, we have everything else required to build a sim rig. And so yeah, that's also been knocking around in the back of my brain. But yeah, we digress. You still haven't learned DaVinci Resolve. I just don't. Yeah. I might be closer to working on that. We'll see. I was going to look at Resolve for my Linux challenge, but everyone tells me that Resolve on Linux is crap. So I'm probably going to look at whatever the KDE one was. So yeah. Will my Steam goggles work with Blender? Don't know.
presume there hasn't been any confirmation, but has there been any
Kden Live, yes.
confirmation from Steam that the Steam goggles are going to work on Linux?
The Steam frame. Yes, because it will have to work with the Steam machine.
Have they confirmed that?
Okay, so I have not.
It would be cataclysmically stupid.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
However,
I have not seen them. I've not
they're
seen
launching
anyone...
a computer in 2026 with less graphics power than the GPU from 2024.
Okay, but like it'll still run Beat Saber, you know. So yeah, it will. You can run Beat Saber on a potato. So yeah, I have not seen any. I haven't checked. I haven't seen explicit. The Steam frame works with the Steam machine, but my God, if it didn't, what the actual F, you know? So I cannot see a world where that's not the case. Also, though, because it is fundamentally just doing. Oh no, it's. Yeah, it's fundamentally just doing HDMI streaming. So yeah, I mean, it's doing the same thing that Virtual Desktop does. It's a fancy virtual desktop. So yeah, it is trivial to make it work on Linux, considering Linux can already do the VR stuff.
Fair.
So yeah,
Good.
yeah. I've not seen confirmation on it, but I cannot possibly see a world where it wouldn't work.
Yes. I was thinking more just the generic open Linux existence.
Yeah.
Would that be a good spearhead for the improvement of the VR experience on Linux?
Yeah, don't know. I will find out this weekend because I messaged a friend. So as part of my Linux challenge will be, obviously I am a VR user and I will want my Quest to work on Linux. So I messaged a friend who I know is already a VR user on Linux and runs a Quest, and said, "Hey, I want to run my Quest on Linux. I'm currently using Virtual Desktop. What do I need?" And they said, "Quote, WeVR WI VRN server via Flatpak plus WayVR should do the trick." And I said, yes. Okay.
Makes sense.
Quite so.
Flatpak is effectively a package manager.
That was my understanding.
But it has the ability to supply effectively immutable versions.
Fair enough. So yeah, I was aware
From memory.
I was aware that Flatpak was I think Flatpak is a package manager. So yeah, it sounds like I need to get Flatpak, whatever that is, like whether I can just get that through my existing package manager and it opens another package manager, or fine, whatever, and then presumably I search for that, click install, and go from there. I have not done any further research on that yet because I'm deliberately not researching things because I'm trying to go in blind and just go, can I just pighead brute force my way through this? That's a test of quality of life. The more I can just go in blind with zero research and not run into problems, the better it is. And like, you know, I said this last week because I haven't done anything else with the machine yet. I haven't turned it on in a week. Just because I was working on other stuff. However, like the fact that I managed to do that with Steam and just pighead zero research, just go, I want Steam, download, double click on the thing I downloaded, it installs. You know, that worked. So that's why I spoke so highly of that, because with zero research, I just was just like, download, and it just works. So I'm going to try and do that. I'm just going to open the package manager and be like, Flatpak, install. Opens Flatpak. WIVRN, install. Double click, open this, and then just see if it just works. I'm not going to look up anything else I should get. I'm not going to look up the documentation. I'm just going to do that and see what happens. And if that just works, that is evidence that the quality of life is really good. Whereas the moment I start doing like research and stuff like that, now I have prior knowledge kind of thing, which changes my approach. I want to do this.
I don't know if it counts as prior knowledge, Googling and going, do I download this from this website? Oh, yes.
Yeah, I guess, but like...
Because that's
you know,
the same as Googling, how do I download games? and it going Steam.
Yeah, I don't know, but you see what I mean.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, also for people saying, oh, I never consider my Linux change to be a challenge. Yeah, I'm looking for a different word for it, because I know that people are getting annoyed at people calling it the Linux challenge as if it is a challenge to use Linux. And I understand that mindset. I would like another term for this. My Linux what? Then?
Struggle.
Well, it's not a
Fight.
struggle then, you know. Yeah,
Fight.
Like my Linux trial, that seems lame. My Linux,
Tribulations.
yeah. My Linux switch, I mean, it might be a switch.
My Linux violence.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, if you don't want me to call it a challenge, what else should I call it, you know?
My Linux programmer sucks.
Yeah, my Linux experience. What if I bought some and just had some on for the intro with one leg up in shot and just didn't mention it?
What else would you be wearing?
But yes, My Chemical Linux.
You'd be wearing clothes, right? Padme meme.
My Linux clickbait for views. Yeah, a little bit. Journey, yeah, a couple of people are saying Journey. I would support that, because that's the thing, like, you know, this is the thing, like, I'm not deep enough in to make a decision on this, but based on my very early tests with going so well, I'm in the back of my brain, like, my initial thing was going to be like, look, I'm just doing this to gain experience about Linux. I'm not expecting to actually hard switch to it. I'm not expecting to be at that point, just cold turkey. However, considering how far my initial impressions have been, part of me is now like, but what if it went well enough and I actually just stay on Linux? You know, is that the goal? Is that my new, you know, like, is that what I'm doing now? If it goes well,
Sure.
Yeah. Like, you know, the idea is that I'm, at the moment, I have it on a dedicated machine for it, and my main rig will stay as is. However, if I use it for a week or two, or, you know, as long as I need to do all of my testing, and everything works, am I going to be like, yeah, cool, I'm installing this on my main rig? Also, for people, excuse me, I've got the hiccups. For people who asked, I'm using Mint. So yeah. But yeah, if it goes well,
Is it fresh?
apparently so. Yeah. But also, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think Mint is going to be my jam at the moment, because I'm still I'm extremely skeptical about all of the trendy Linux distributions.
What are
Catchy,
you
pop, Bazite, stuff like that. I'm like, no, give me something that is not. Give me something that's not trying to be something clever. Give me something that is just a nice, well-rounded, balanced distro.
What are you going to do for backups? Going for if you did switch, what would you do for backups? Because you can't use Google Drive, and I don't know if there is a equivalent from Google.
That's a good
For
question.
Mint.
Is Google Drive available for Mint for Linux? So yeah, does anyone know? I actually don't know. I know I said I wasn't doing any research. However, genuine question: can I run Google Drive on Linux? You know, obviously I could run it in a browser, but like that sucks. It's not going to automatically upload my files, which is what I need. America the Free, Eagle Sound. Thank you for the $50. Thank you guys for the live feed. Enjoying the show here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Hello, Las Vegas, Nevada. Thank you very much for the super chat. Much appreciated. Would not see why not. Yeah, but does it though? You know.
So
yeah, could you just pull
I'm
it
just
up?
going to go
Yeah.
G
Drive Linux
Mint.
Or Mint, yeah.
Oops, I'm going to drop half of letters out of that word.
Thanks, America. Yeah.
You're not allowed to read this.
Okay, yeah. I really like the user interface for Ubuntu Studio. Yeah, I've kind of fallen out of love with Ubuntu because
you have to use InSync or rclone or whatever and
yeah,
do it through other things. There does not appear to be an instant double click this.
Okay, we'll talk about this a bit more in a minute then, because knowing that that is something that I will run into, I'm now more interested in knowing and doing a bit of research, because I know that now that I know that that's not going to be it just works.
Yeah.
Having the extra knowledge will be useful.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to quickly tidy up the other thing. Yeah, Ubuntu on my Proxmox server, I'm running Ubuntu for the Linux VMs on that, and I was kind of just like, I didn't much care for it. I don't know. I couldn't tell you why, but it just, I don't know. I just didn't really like it very much. It just felt, I can't remember what it was, but there were a couple of things that it was doing that was making me be like, you know, whereas Mint didn't give me that impression. So I don't know. However, also though, the problem is that those Ubuntu VMs, I'm running them at like 800 by 600 through a Proxmox browser window. So like, that's not a great user experience anyway. So
Yeah.
fine. But yeah. But also like lots of people, multiple people I take seriously say that Mint is cozy. So that's why I went for Mint.
Thanks, Si. Now that I know, it would be good to know how to know what I need to know.
Yeah. All right. So yeah.
Thanks, Si.
Apparently rsync. Yeah. Rsync is a term I'm familiar with. So yeah. I'm guessing that you. Yeah. I'm guessing that you have to do rsync and have it set up with some kind of thing. What yeah. What's do we know what the gist is? What, like, do you tell rsync to sync with like a weird FTP address that you can technically access your G drive through or something, or?
Yeah, no idea.
fair enough.
I was looking purely to see, is there a client from Google?
Yeah.
No, there is not a client from Google.
Yeah.
Very well, you do it some other way.
That kind of surprises me, because yeah, like that's one of those things where we will run into I can't use Google Drive. What do you mean I can't use my cloud storage? What the hell is this? You know, what about Dropbox? Does Dropbox have a client? Actually, could you Google that? What if I was using Dropbox? Would that have a client? Or OneDrive, for that matter? Like, is that just Google that's being crap, or are they all crap like that?
Install Dropbox for Linux.
Yeah, Dropbox have got a Linux client. Okay.
Why is it in French? Okay, you can install it for Ubuntu or Fedora.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fine. That gives you a Debian or a RPM. I can't remember what the other one is, but yeah, like Debian works for Mint. There's like two different styles. I can't remember which is which because I don't know my terms properly. But those are the two main. Those are the two main flavors of Linux, and everything else is a sub-flavor of one of
your
those.
two packages.
Yeah. So yeah. So Dropbox would be fine then. I'm actually astonished that G Drive doesn't have a Linux. Thanks, Wikipedia. I'm astonished that G Drive doesn't have a Linux client. Do you think that Neo is Apple seeing the RAM-pocalypse and quickly adapting, realizing the need to find something cheaper available? Honestly, I think it's Apple using up old stock they've got lying around because, yeah, basically what they've done is they've binned some old chips and packaged them into a laptop that they can sell as brand new, which is not bad, that's fine. However, yeah, although, yeah, it does beg the question, perhaps it would have been 16 gigs were we not in the RAM-pocalypse. I'm not sure.
RPM, originally Red Hat Package Manager, now a recursive acronym for RPM Package Manager.
God damn it, Linux, why are you like this?
RPM is not a packet manager.
Yeah.
Package manager, even.
Did you have any luck repairing the motherboards from Joey? No, I keep forgetting. I mean, we could quickly... I was going to say, we could have a look at them on this stream. Got a couple of bits and pieces. We should probably look at a couple of bits and pieces, but yeah. Problem is, if I start looking at them now, I don't know. Yeah, I could do a viability. We could do a like a viability check. Just have a look and see what I'm up against. Might be worth doing. Yeah, they were not forgotten. I just haven't done them yet. What's our stream timer on? An hour.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. We've got some options. So for actual things to do other than just waffling, I've got a couple of my AM4 motherboards here that didn't want to post because I actually wanted to use these B450 boards for the BIOS video, and I couldn't get either of them to post. So I was like, sod it, I'll use an AM5 board. Or we could pull out the two motherboards that Joey Does Tech sent over to me and do a viability check.
Yeah, I think we should at least have a quick look at them. Just make sure.
All right, let's do that.
Because, like,
I'm going to go to the bench cam.
Because if they're motherboards that you don't have CPUs for.
Yeah, I think they're B450 boards, but...
Oh, I see.
Yeah, although that much being said, that might segue quite nicely into checking if I actually have a working AM4 setup, which I should do because I've got a 5700 that technically is yours. What the hell? Oh, there we go, yeah.
Why do you have a 5700 that's mine?
Because remember, I built that one for my friend and you gave me a 5700 to put in it because I ordered one from AliExpress that wasn't going to show up in time.
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
I thought I gave you a 5800. Fair.
No, it was
That's
5700.
Fine. Cool. That's fine. That's fine then.
Yeah.
I was just like, did I? When did I do this? I do
Yes.
not. I have no memory of this. I'm sure I had a 5800.
I was like, I'll keep it if you don't want it, but you know.
No, it was more the fact I could have sworn it was a 5800, and I was just like, hold on a minute, I'm getting shafted by 100 megahertz. How dare you?
Yeah, no, I would not have wanted to use a 5800 anyway, to be honest. Just because it would have meant I'd have had to put a giant CPU cooler on it. That'll do. Okay, right.
Insta.
Put that there.
Oh, did you find your lost Insta link by any chance?
I haven't looked for it yet.
No, that's fair.
Have you double checked that you don't have it?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I never took it.
Okay.
That's how this works.
All right. I have a memory of you saying, "Can I borrow the other Instalink? I want to try it out." That's why that's why I have beliefs of this.
Turn off.
I'm not calling you a liar. I'm just saying that my my extremely reliable brain has a memory of you borrowing it.
That's what they all say.
Oh, these might be. No, I don't think these. I don't know actually. We'll
Open the
them.
box.
What if I opened the box and just looked inside it? Are you finished faffing? All right.
There you go. Bench camera face. Oh.
And then
Hold
do
on.
the thing. Yeah.
Hold on. Bench camera face.
All right. And then rotate it, please.
Okay. Transform. Rotate.
Okay. There we go. There is no right way up. Okay. Right. Context. Joey from Joey Does Tech was doing a live stream a while back. He was having a clear out of a bunch of stuff, and one of the bunches of stuff he had was some motherboards that he bought on eBay for possible repair. However, he concluded that he couldn't be asked. He was just like, "No, I'm not doing these." And I think Sai was just like, "You should send them to Graham at Adamant IT." And Joe was just like, "I'm going to send them to Graham at Adamant IT." And so he sent them to me, Graham, at Adamant IT. And here they are. So yeah.
You're not Graham, you're Adamant.
However, he messaged me first and he linked me to the original eBay auctions for them and was just like, "Do you reckon you could have a go at this kind of thing?" And I had a look at the auctions and it looked like there was something there that could possibly be doable. I was like, yeah, not making any promises, but maybe at least one of those is possibly fixable, so sure, why not? If I can... Oh my god! Alright. Right. Surprise! It's not an Asus, it's an MSI. Already an improvement. Wow, that's an X570A Pro. Hey, not bad. Alright, crinkling noises. Okay. So, basically, to my knowledge, actually, I'll just start getting all of them out.
Still has a CPU socket. That's a good start.
So, one of these has a hole in one of the VRMs. One of these has a hole in one of the fan headers. And if there is a third one, I can't remember what was wrong with that one.
Slight waft of burning.
Delicious magic smoke. Menthol fresh. Oh wait, there's more. Right, crinkling noises, sorry everyone. Make this into a video for next week? Yeah, maybe, we'll see. Oh, there's the one with the busted fan header. Yeah, whoop. That guy's gone nuclear.
Yes.
So yeah, that's probably blown a hole through the, yeah, that's blown a hole through the board. So yeah, we need to see if that is salvageable. See, these might be nightmare rabbit holes with like fused internal layers in the board, which are just not viable to fix. And ooh, that's the one with the nuclear VRM on it. Bloody hell!
Wow.
Woo, lad. That was flames right there. That would have gone out with a bang.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I see potential for donables. Well, these are all identical. They're all X570A Pros. So, like, maybe we can make one of them work with the parts from the 3, you know. So, right, we've got IO shields. And we've got back plates. Just going to put all these screws in just to tie all these together. Yeah, so I think I don't know if I'm going to actually. I don't think I'm going to attempt a repair on any of these right now. I think we mainly just want to have a look and see if any of them could be repaired. So yeah.
So what's up with this board then?
Right, so yeah, I take it there's no visible issues with that one.
Oh, it's the VRM.
Oh, is there a hole in that VRM
There is
as well?
approximately a explosion.
Oh yeah, I saw that one. Yeah, that one's got an exploded phase doubler on it. So that one, yeah, that looks like a phase doubler to me that's gone bang. So we need to have a closer look at that and see if that is indeed what that is, because like that one looks like it hasn't put a hole through the board, which means that like this one with the exploded auxiliary VRMs at the top, like that one, I'm looking at that being like, oh yeah, no, we're done. That's toast. That's mega dead. But that one with a dead phase doubler on it, I'm like, okay, if we pull that off, replace it with one of the ones from this, change the MOSFETs on it, that might have half a chance.
Yes.
So yes, and yeah, that's the advantage. Because these boards are all identical, like yeah, if we have to actually rebuild the VRMs on one of them, well, we can actually do that because we've got identical donor boards. So yeah, if we can get at least one good one out of this, then that would be a win. I don't think any of this is financially viable, but it would be educational and it would be kind of cool. I don't have enough screws to put all of these on. Right. I will steal one from over here. There we go. All right. Put those somewhere else. Okay. Right.
How many layers is this layer indicator counting? Is it counting 4?
Yeah, 4-layer board. So that's the thing. If it's got fused inside layers, then that might not be cataclysmic, because 4 layers, that's not that much to deal with.
No.
It just depends on where the hole is, you know. And like that's the thing, up in this area where the VRMs are, like those internal areas might just be ground and power planes and stuff like that. So if you just dig out the short, then it's potentially fixable. Whereas, you know, if you had like, yeah, I don't know. This one, it looks like the damage is possibly too extensive. And like, yeah, like I'm gonna take off the I'm gonna take the heat sinks off of these. But yeah, I don't know. Also, I'm a little bit worried because I'm the one that had the exploded header on it. Initially, I was like, oh, that one's probably an easy fix because we'll just windscreen wiper off that header. However, because it's next to the memory slots, then that might mean that a whole bunch of memory power stuff is nearby and is now all exploded as well. So yeah.
I don't think so. Only because all of the memory power is going to be off of the 5 volt.
Doubt it. I would.
Isn't it? Because it's got 6.3 volt caps.
You are technically correct. Yeah, you might be right there. I'm not sure. I've not.
And the fan header would have to be off of 12.
Yeah.
So it might not.
All right. How much work is it going to be to put a microscope over here? Not that much work. Medium amount of work.
I like how the amount of work is slowly increasing.
Yeah. Good grief. Wow. Okay. I'm going to bring the camera down because we're going to go for close-ups. We'll just do we'll do close-up cam.
I'm going to go face cam before everyone gets motion sickness.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Star Trek again.
All right. And try switching again.
Pow.
Okay, that's cool. And if you go to like a 2x mag. There we go. Yeah, that gets us fairly close up, so you can kind of see what's going on. Yeah, like, woo lads, that's a lot of damage. So yeah, you can. Oof. I'm gonna start picking bits out of here just to have a look, like, you know. Oh my gosh, it's all solid. I thought there was bits of because like you can see here where it's burnt up the thermal pad. I assumed there would just. I thought that was just bit of thermal pad. Alcohol first. Yeah, I know. I'm just looking. I'm just seeing if any of this just comes straight off. But yeah, gosh, that's just. It's just ash. It's all ash. This one I don't think is salvageable. So I'm kind of just. This is probably a bit of an autopsy, but.
Also just kind of a discoloration of the side of the cap and the coil as well. Like,
yeah, there were flames here. This has been on fire. I'm just going to try and toothbrush down some of this just to see if we can find the circuit board under there.
Is there enough to work out what it was that actually went?
Yeah, I would assume high side short, and yeah, there was just nothing to hold up the high side short. Okay, let's.
Wait, did it melt the solder out the bottom as well?
Yeah, that'll happen.
Something, that's a lot of damage.
Just trying to dig out enough carbon to find what's left so we can try and reconstruct this.
Like, stupid question. But is it actually shorted?
It may well have blown open, but that's what I currently want to just see if I can just dig down to, well, not dig, but brush down to what's left, and then I can actually like just do some probing and just see what's there and what is actually shorted. So yeah, I'm going to turn this around just so I'm not leaning over the board. Oops, there we go.
Stop it.
More alcohol. Right, I think that's as much as we're going to get off with the toothbrush.
As there's just a chunk of metal there.
Barbecued, yeah. Right. Let me grab a multimeter. This is kind of just gore at this point, but also, yeah, this is just...
There's a blob of solder stuck in the thermal pad.
Yeah.
God.
Dig a little bit more carbon out from there. Yeah, if we wanted to make progress, we've got to get these MOSFETs off and stuff like that. But, however, just for funsies though, let's just see what we've got. So, let's check. So, firstly, is VCore actually shorted? Where's a nice, good ground point for me to use?
I'll use this convenient screw hole.
Yeah, something with a solder mark on it. That, whoops. That I'm not going to slide off of. Right, there's that. So, okay, right. So ground. Yeah, we're on ground. So firstly, yeah, VCore is a dead short, unsurprisingly. So yeah. So that means probably all of this is the input shorted as well. Right, I can never remember which way around that is. That's ground, and the input is at 23 ohms, so it's partially shorted. So yeah, it's probably shorted through the motherboard there. So yeah, basically what we'd have to do is dig all of this out and get down to just the PCB, and then you would want to try and reconstruct it, but like there's so much damage here, it's such a wide space, I don't think you could come back from that. So I'm just gonna have a look at the other side. Ooh, yeah, we're tearing up traces there as well. So like you can see those hairline traces there that have come up. So like that's all got to rebuilt. Yeah, that's all got to be rebuilt. It's almost gone. It's practically gone through the board. You can, like that bit there. You know, we're looking at just the material that the PCB has been made out of. All of the copper is gone. So yeah. So yes, this is. I don't think this is even worth so much as a casual glance. This board is now a donor, but yeah, that's the damage that's done there. So most likely, what happened is, let's see. One of these guys is going to be probably this one is the high side, and that has probably gone high side short, either because the MOSFET failed or the driver got stuck on, and just lodged the MOSFET in the on position until it burnt up. That then caught fire and just exploded out. But but the input short it wasn't quite enough to trip the power supply until it had already just gone, you know. So yeah, because unfortunately on a gaming PC you can pull a lot of power before the power supply goes, hold on a sec, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, all right, let's put that to one side. Yeah, do you want to go to face cam for a sec while I...
Face cam.
Yeah, I'll take the heat sinks off the next board. Oh, actually, we don't need to with this one. Ooh, wow, yeah, holy shit. Yes, bench cam again, please.
Bench cam.
Right, there's our next one. So we're in the top right of the board. There's the memory slots, and pump fan 1 here. That's the controller, or you know, that's the driver chip for this fan header. If we have a look at another fan header, such as CPU fan 1 there, you can see the same setup right next door. So there's the driver for this header, couple of capacitors, driver chip, header. So over here we've got the driver chip, there's a capacitor there. There was probably another one around here somewhere. Maybe it was there and it's gone. And yeah,
Yes, there used to be one there.
yeah. And yeah, this one has actually put a hole through the board in the most literal sense. If I flip the board over, yeah. So can we see that? Oh, not quite. You can see some movement because there's a proper hole through the board just where the fan header pokes through. But even still, yeah, we've gone most of the way through the board there, and there are busted traces. So you would need to do some trace repair there. Those look pretty gnarly. Yeah, that trace damage, that's the problem. If that trace damage wasn't there, like, part of me was looking at this going, okay, what if we just pull off the drive chip, dig out the short and leave it? Because you could just run this motherboard and just not use that fan header. We could just remove this fan header from the board and just not bother trying to replace it. However, because there's all of those traces on the back, those traces are probably quite important. So yeah, that's an issue.
There might be PCI.
Board number 3. Oh, PCI traces. Oh, you're trying to follow where they go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and then that one's got a that one's got a VRM exploded on it. Yeah.
This one kind of looks like the most possible, just because there doesn't appear to be trace damage next to it.
Yeah. So this one on the back of the board, we've got an exploded phase doubler, or what's probably a phase doubler. I'm going to take the heat sinks off, and we'll look at that properly. I'm going to use a bigger screwdriver. Yeah, a little bit worried. These might be going nowhere, if I'm honest, and I think that's why it was a good idea to look at these now instead of me setting up for a video and doing the intro and doing, hello interwebs, welcome to Let's Fix and explaining all of it to the camera, and then finally putting these under the microscope and going, oh,
Yeah.
okay, you know.
Yeah. They came from another streamer, content creator.
Oh,
Joey
interesting.
Does Tech.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And they, I don't think he looked at them at all. He just ordered them off of eBay.
Yeah.
And then went, actually,
Can't
I'm
be
not going
arsed.
to get around to this.
Yeah,
And then I think someone stitched Graham up.
yeah. Oh, that's a shit. Oh,
Oh! Oh no!
oh my God.
Oh no!
Right, thanks everyone for joining us. We'll see you next week. Oh yeah, no, I don't think we can work with any. Right, yeah, I mean, that one, again, same deal. Like, man, there's so much damage. That's so deep. Like,
But
just,
there aren't any traces in that area.
no, but like,
So, if that makes
Oh,
sense.
you're
Yeah,
not-
no. But I'm just saying, therefore, it's likely to just be power.
Maybe. I'm not going to attempt that. I'm going to look again at that one with the dead fan header.
Yeah.
Because, like, if that's got, like, let's pretend there was 6 traces on the back there that were busted. Like, 6 jumper wires? Okay, you know, that's doable. 6 jumper wires, rip off all the fan connector stuff, you know. Maybe it works, you know. So, yeah. However, yeah, these ones with the nuclear VRMs, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No burn through? What are you talking about, my guy? I mean, well, this has gone nuclear as well, so yeah, I guess no burn through, but also, like, there's so much heat damage to the upper layers there. You know, like that's a mountain there, you know. Let me give that a little bit of scrapage. Delicious. I feel like I'm trying to scrape burnt toast over the sink, being like, it's just a little burnt, it's still good, it's still good. It's not. Get the bread out, put more bread in, just start again. Yeah, okay, so let's quickly just...
At minimum, you would have to replace...
This guy, this guy, this guy, this guy.
And the two
The supporting...
to the left.
Yeah. These guys as well, probably, maybe.
And possibly the 2 capacitors.
Yeah. And yeah, so what's actually happening here? So what setup have we got? So we've got 2, 4, 6. So we've got 3 phases here. Let's see. We've got high side and low side, whichever way around they are. High side and low side per inductor. And then on the other side, these chips here are going to be phase doublers, I would imagine. So we've got 3 phases, and each phase has a phase doubler that goes through to MOSFETs and inductors. That might just be a drive chip. I need to look up these chip numbers. Those might just be MOSFET drivers. Actually,
What's it? IR. What is it? It's
yeah. And then we've got another 2 up top. The setup is a 4+1 setup. It's 4 phase plus 1 auxiliary. So yeah, hang on a second. Yeah, let me get the chip number. Let me turn it around. Just try going to camera view again. And you could probably zoom in a bit more on that.
3598.
Oh, good job. Yeah. IR 3598. Right, do you want to do desktop capture while we look at this?
Dual double interleave MOSFET driver.
Yeah, I was right. It was both. Yeah.
Desktop. Ah, capture. No, hold on.
Browser. Browser with chat, yeah.
Browser. That one.
Browser.
Brown. There we go.
Okay. All right, yeah. So this is a dual doubler interleaves MOSFET driver. So yeah, it is a driver, but also it runs... Yeah, it runs 2 sets. If we have a look, if you scroll down to the application example.
Oops.
Oh, that's not going to work. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Just leave it windowed. Yeah, here we go. So here's our example. So you can see where functional block diagram. Oh, that's inside the chip. Yeah, keep going a little bit further. Typical applications. Here we go. So yeah, you can see where, what chip was this again? It was an IR3...
3538.
3538, yeah. So yeah, on the left we've got the IR3538, which takes a PWM in signal, and then it outputs 2 PWM signals to the MOSFETs. But that would mean it's a driver as well. Is there another application diagram below that?
That's what it said. It said... MOSFET driver.
Yeah. So why
dual doubler interleave MOSFET driver?
Yeah. So I'm not sure why they're showing discrete drivers on that application. I thought this was going to be driving the MOSFETs directly.
Because it appears to be driving the drivers through itself, with itself, because that's an IR3598.
Oh yeah, that's the same chip.
3538.
Oh, wait, hang on a sec. 3598, did you say?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, right. Right, the 3538, the big block on the left, that's not this chip. That's the PWM chip, which is going to be... okay, yeah, so switch back to the bench cam.
Bench cam.
Right, that's that guy there. The big one on the left is that guy there. Might be a different chip number, but it's doing the same thing. So that's the big chip on the left, and switch back to the browser again.
Browser.
So the big block on the left is this big chip that I just pointed out. Then the small ones, could you point at the small ones, please? These ones here, those are our driver chips that then drive the MOSFETs. And it's one of those that has gone nuclear. So that guy that might have been the initial failure point, because when the driver fails, the gate gets jammed on. So basically it's the equivalent of jamming the accelerator pedal down. And then the MOSFET just dumps 12 volts into everything and it all goes nuclear. So yeah, and yes, 4 plus 1 or 4 plus 2 doesn't seem enough. Yeah, it's cheap X570 board. It is the cheapest X570. It is one of the cheapest X570 boards, in fact. And yeah, it probably would have been fine, but yeah, maybe someone was trying to drive a, maybe someone was trying to run a, 5900 or something like that on it, and like yeah, or yeah, maybe it was just unlucky. However, yes, this board was not very good. It was adequate for lower end Ryzens, but it was notoriously not very high spec. So yes. Yeah, okay, so this one, yeah, we're not even going to try and approach that. I'm going to look at the one with the exploded fan header again. If you go back to bench cam and just yeah, so let's come back to this one again. So this one, so if we removed the fan header and the driver chip, so firstly, I'm assuming that that's all shorted into the Stone Age. Ground. So let's just check that guy there. Without it running away from me. Alright, that capacitor actually isn't shorted. Okay, what's this bare metal here? That's at about 100 ohms, so that is probably a power plane that is partially shorted through the board. So if we took the driver chip off, took the header off, and just basically just took off this fan header circuit, and then dug out the short so the power plane isn't shorted anymore. Let's turn this around so it stays on. Then on the back of the board, dig this out. Where's that going? So actually that's 12 volt coming in from the 24 pin. So that well, maybe not 12 volt. That is, but that's a power plane coming in from the ATX header. It comes up here. It comes into this area where it's
the big copper bit, yeah.
Yeah. So like yeah, we would have to cut that and put a strap across there, like a big jumper wire to reconnect that power line. And then we've got a bunch of tiny traces in there. But like, how many are there? We've got like, I don't know, maybe 6.
There's also some through-hole bits just to the left of the screwdriver, isn't there? Just in this bit of copper here.
Oh yeah, yes.
Sorry, not through-hole, through the board.
Yeah.
Stitching.
Oh, vias. Yeah, maybe.
So I don't know if that's veering the 12 volt up to the top side of the board. Which you'd then have to connect it up.
You know what, like, we kind of, like, these boards are effed, so, like, who cares? Let's just start cutting some stuff away and seeing what's there. Oh, yeah, look at a board that's not broken. Yeah, yeah, just for the sake of it, I'll just quickly show you what that's supposed to look like. Here's one I bought earlier. And by bought, I mean had someone sent to me. That's what that's supposed to look like.
Yeah, there are some veers in that, aren't there?
Yeah. So yeah, it doesn't look super complex. Oops. But yeah, like, let's just get a little bit savage here. Try not to cut through all of those traces as well, which I nearly did just then. For the record, I'm not practiced at this, and this is going to be a little bit of butchery, but like, these boards aren't worth anything, and they're turbo broken. So like, if you're gonna practice, this is the time to do it, you know. Right, so let's pick that off.
Oh, there's also, yeah, there's all that.
Yeah, this is the problem. This is why there's a partial short. You've got to scrape all this back. Oh, look at those traces that are down there. This is the problem. You start digging for gold, and you just find more misery.
You sounded like a sports commentator there. He's digging for gold, but he just finds more misery.
Yeah. I've watched other repair techs start digging through shorts like this, and just like, it seems so sad, but you've just got to keep scraping until you stop finding exploded stuff. You just have to. You have to just say, right, we have to. You literally have to just gouge out the wound until you get it, until it's clean, and then you stitch it back together again. Maybe.
Yeah.
This is way above my pay grade, so like, I'm kind of just toying with this, but whatever. Let's just.
Oh, that's another trace.
Yeah. Come on, just cut off, please. Can that just come off nicely? I need to be in here with tweezers and a microscope as well, so like, we're not really set up, but could also be using my little rotary tool to grind away here. So once you've gotten down to just bare PCB, here we go. Now we're coming down to the next layer down. Once you're down to all of this, you stabilize this area, and then you put in conformal coating, and then you can start stitching across the top again, you know. But yeah, there's a lot going on down here. It was a bit of a mad dream that there wouldn't be much under here, but there is. And like, that's gone. So like, we've got to cut all of this away to get under there to carbon. As long as there's carbon there, you have to keep digging. So yeah. So that's the problem, is I've got to cut more away here to get down there. And those are vias, so like, I'm digging out vias at this point. So yeah, this is, I think all of these boards are all 100% lost cause. You gone?
Oh, look, there's another trace.
So yeah, you can see where we're starting to come down to something that is not completely wrecked, but that hole through the board there, that's the bit that makes this terminal.
Is that all the way through?
Basically, yeah, I think so. Like, I can't see how it wouldn't be. That's millimeters deep, that hole. So yeah, that is literally a hole through the board. So, and that corresponds with this bit here. I do a little bit of scraping away at the remains of this chip, this leg here. Not quite, but a little bit of poking there, and the knife will just go straight through the board at that point. So yeah. Stop, he's already dead. So yeah. I think all of these are no bueno. I think they're all lost cases. There's not a doubt in my mind, if you put someone like Muerto on this board, he would probably be able to dig that out and reconnect the traces. Would he want to? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Would I be able to afford to pay him to do that? Absolutely not. But yeah, I'm not going to say this cannot be fixed, but this is not something you would do unless the board was worth $1,000, you know.
You have a handy hole to make the board into a massive keyring.
Fix would cost more than board. Yeah, absolutely. That would be the case for like any of these. It would have been good as a learning experience. If it had been a couple of traces, I would have been like, you know what, let's get crazy. You know, not worth doing, but let's practice. But the issue here is, and like this is an interesting lesson because like we see this in the Discord quite a lot, where people come in and they say, I've got this problem with this MacBook. And the problem that they've got is a real nightmare one. And you go, and you say, it's like, oh, you know, this has got like, this probably has this has like dead supporting circuits into the PCH and stuff. Not worth it. Give up on this. And they go like, okay, but I'm just trying to learn. Can this be fixed? And it's like, yeah, technically, but by someone who is at a top level. And like, if you're trying to learn, like, if you're trying to learn how to paint, restoring the Mona Lisa probably isn't the place to start.
Yeah.
You know. Can I have one of those?
You like one of my festive balls?
Ah, balls. So, yeah. Even if you reconnected the wires, might there be a timing issues? Maybe. Don't know. Don't know what those traces are. They're probably not super sensitive. I mean, maybe. But I'm not willing to put in the time required to find out. So yeah. Okay. That's it. Take it away. Put us back on Facecam.
Ciao.
Big sad. I was kind of hoping that out of the 3 boards there, one of them might be viable, and with 2 donor boards we'd be able to do something, but these are all nightmare rabbit holes. Which in a way is not surprising because they were bought from obviously another repair shop on eBay. If they were viable, the other shop would have done them.
Oh my god. I've just noticed there's actually a crack in there.
Yeah.
I hadn't noticed the crack.
Fire and brimstone, Caradog. Fire and brimstone.
There's a crack. Why is there a crack in my board?
The devil himself has escaped through these MOSFETs in an unholy birthing ritual. It was worth the discovery, yeah. It was worth knowing, so I didn't spend half an hour setting up and starting the intro of a video, only to find that they're all terrible and awful. Yeah. Sorry, Joey. No bueno. Anyone else want to try? Unironically, I'll send them. I'll pass them on. I'll pass the buck. Any other tech YouTubers look at that and they're like, I'll do it. I'll be like, okay, bet. I've not a doubt in my mind there's someone out there that can do it. Does anyone want to?
Not overly on a X570A Pro.
Okay. Time for side up, maybe.
Bave Dob or bust.
Babe Dov. Is his name just evolving further?
Devolving further. Soon it will be gibberish.
Okay, right.
Someone would apply hot glue and say it's fixed.
Okay, I'm going to shove these to one side, and
What are these big Nuvatons?
that's the EC. That's the big Nuvoton chip is the embedded controller.
What does the embedded controller do?
The embedded controller.
That the chipset doesn't.
So the embedded controller handles really low-level power stuff. So
Why would I need two of them?
think of it like the starter engine. This guy switches on small. This guy switches on small auxiliary rails that then get the PCH switched on, and then the PCH starts initializing the CPU and stuff like that. It also does just low-level hardware control. Like I believe the EC does management for the fan headers and thermal control and stuff like that. It handles a lot of the sensors. Some of the sensors and things will have discrete chips for them, but the EC does at least some of that stuff.
Is the EC also the Super I/O?
Yes,
Is that an interchangeable term?
I believe so.
Okay.
So yeah, say the BIOS chip and chipset. Oh, really? Yeah. I'm not going to do anything with these, but I guess you could. Right. Cool. I'm going to chuck these to one side.
Because my question then became, why would you have two of them?
Oh yeah, yeah. Just more I/O.
Fair.
Yeah. More input output. They've got more stuff on that motherboard.
Yes.
Yeah,
An
more stuff,
ungodly
more
amount
stuff to
of
control.
stuff.
Yeah, what board is that you're looking at?
Z870 Taichi OCF.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Very well. Yeah.
Like, hello, would you like some...
Not the chipset, the
vroom?
EC. Oh, fair, yeah. Yeah, I guess you could save the EC, because finding replacement ECs and that have firmware on them and stuff like that is tough work. But also,
Would
again,
they
like...
only work on this board?
Correct. So also, again, it's like, who the hell is going to do an EC swap on an X570, you know?
Oh, it would work on any X570?
Sorry, I'll rephrase that, on an X570A Pro.
Oh,
you
I
know.
see. Yes, it will. It is
Yeah.
literally this specific.
Yeah,
board
it will be.
specific.
It will.
Right.
Yeah, like the chip will probably be generic, but it will have firmware for this specific board,
Right. Oh,
because
I see.
it will
Okay.
be configured for what hardware this board has on it.
Oh, I see.
And yeah, once again, it's just a matter of like, who the hell's going to do an EC replacement on one of these, you know?
Would that not get replaced by doing a BIOS update? Because doesn't that often say like flashing EC firmware and things like that?
Maybe, I'm not sure. This is something that I need to do research on for the new
Fair.
series. Sometimes a new BIOS will load new EC firmware. However, also, I don't know if your EC has to be working in the first place in order to do that. So if you were to put on, say, a new blank EC chip, I don't know if the BIOS and the PCH system can then just push the firmware onto that on boot up.
I see.
I think no. Yeah. So yes. So yeah, it can get rewritten by a new BIOS if the BIOS has an EC firmware update in it. However, also I believe that the EC has to work in the first place in order to communicate with the PCH and get that update.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Past people do firmware updates on Dell laptop ECs. Yeah, exactly. It's a massive rabbit hole that I do not intend to get into. I want to do a 30,000 foot overview just to explain that is a thing that exists. God, there's just carbon all over the desk. Ashes to ashes. Yeah, I want to do a 30,000 foot overview of this stuff, but I will not be getting remotely into the weeds. I will not even be getting into the grass on that, because
I will not even be landing.
yeah, exactly, because it's above my pay grade and it's outside the scope of the series I want to do. Because yeah, like if you're watching my series of videos, you are nowhere near doing EC work. You know, like I'm nowhere near doing EC work, so I'm not going to attempt to teach other people about it. But what I do want to do is say, however, this stuff exists. This is where you go after this. You know, watch this series and understand the basics, and then you will have half an idea what the hell Dell parts people are doing, you know. Because this is the problem that I'm trying to
Ask a
solve.
possibly stupid question. Do they only work on Dell laptops?
I don't know. They specialize in Dells, but I don't know if that's all they work on.
Yeah.
But yeah, because that's the thing, is the gap I'm trying to bridge is that you can go to a lot of the superstar repair techs and they will just be doing lots of clever looking stuff, and people will go, yes, that looks very difficult, but I've no idea what you're actually doing. So if I can teach you the basics, then you'll be like, oh, I actually understand what you're doing now, and I understand the words and terminologies you're using. Now I can
yes.
actually follow your videos, you know.
The bridge I am trying to burn.
How dare. Dell and Alienware, that's the same thing. Yeah. Daryl Flores, thank you very much for the $5. Hello to you two guys. How are you doing from the USA, California? We're doing well. Doing well, thank you. I'm trying to decide if I want cider or not. I don't want a whole pint. I want like half a pint or something.
Yeah.
So yeah. I might put a pint into here and just start drinking from here, and then I can take the rest of it home.
I will put the cider in my sippy cup.
Because I'm a classy motherfucker. You want cider?
Tip $5 now if Graham should drink cider.
I mean, if you wanna, but you know, I'm gonna do it anyway. So.
No, you're not going to do it.
Is that dead?
You're
Yeah.
bad at this monetization, Graham.
Yeah, I am.
Exploit yourself.
Yeah. That dead. Yeah, cool. Right, I will be right back, and then we'll see if we can get my stupid AM4 boards to work.
Excellent. I will find a power supply. I have found a power supply. I will find a processor. What are you? You look like a processor. You're a 5700G. Oh, you're almost certainly dead.
These are sync noises and nothing else.
You're a 5700X. You hopefully work.
Yes. Have I got any? No, I don't have a known good AM4 system in here at the moment.
Have you got another AM4 motherboard?
I've got a couple of AM4 motherboards kicking around, so yeah, well, we've got a couple of motherboards, so one of them must work. However, and we've
One
got
of them?
I've got two unreliable CPUs that are degraded, but usually will post. And we've got that one that should be brand new, but I've never actually seen it work, so maybe it doesn't work.
Yeah.
However, also when they didn't work, I was getting no post, and I was like, oh, okay, like I know these CPUs are knackered, but they will actually post. They're just unstable. So this is not expected behavior. Right, so we've got that, got a power supply, we've got a graphics card. Oh yeah, I want to try a different RAM because non-zero chance that just this memory module I was using was crap. That's also a possibility. So I will grab... What are you? What are you? There is some DDR4 2400. Worth a mint.
I thought you
Probably.
said you were putting it on eBay.
I put some RAM on eBay. It did not sell. I was kind of asking for silly money, to be honest. I was trying my... Ugh. It'll be fine.
See, there we go.
Bri, thanks for the $5. Cider!
See, you could be cool like Bri. You too can join in.
Not playing this game.
You might not be. I am.
Okay, right, let's see. What have we got? In exchange for this donation, you guys can choose the cider. General, wow, we've got loads of those ones.
Do not forget to tip your answer.
Ugh.
Oh dear, this motherboard is so bad it only has a 4-pin.
Yeah. It was like the cheapest. When I bought it as like just a testing board, I think, and I literally just bought the cheapest the cheapest B450. I haven't even drunk any cider yet.
Borf.
The B450 cheapest I could cider. So yeah. All right. Okay. Right.
Give me your modules.
Let's see. We can have the General Pitt Rivers. We can have the Smuggler.
We can have the 2FA notification.
We could have the Hurdle Maker. Or we can have the White Wigs. Oh, that's a sweet.
Oh, it's
Interesting.
here. That's what I want. I want you.
Every £5 makes him drink another bottle. This year.
No.
Whatever has the highest. All right, yeah. There's a 6.8. That's the Hurdle Maker. Yeah, that's the vintage. It's a 6.8. So yeah, all right.
You get to be D. Graham.
For the purposes of YouTube monetization, I am not drinking for money. So
What? No. This is an interactive choose your own adventure. Available only for those who super chat.
unironically, we should probably not be making these jokes. Like, I'm not even, like, unironically, we are playing with fire right now. I'm having a calm drink on a Saturday afternoon. All right. America the Free. Sorry. I will always find that one. Thank you for the $10. Have 2 ciders, brother. It's a weekend. Thank you very much. If anyone's just like, what is he doing? I know. But look, I can't guarantee that I'm going to drink a pint in the next... How long have we got left?
However long it takes you.
No, not in the cut. It's too late. Wait, what is bro doing? Yeah.
2 hours.
There we go. Why are you like that? Okay, right. I don't know what's worse, me putting it in this or the pour that I just did for that. It's AI, it just looks like cider. Yeah. Plot twist. Right, you seem to have gotten pretty far. Cool. All right. How much do you want to bet this is just going to work first time?
I will bet $5.
I see. I'll put a beep speaker on this as a special treat. No idea which way around that goes. Probably positive to the back of the board, I'd imagine.
Huh.
It's good. Place your bets, folks. Yeah. I think this is where I was up to last time, where it just seems to be
there
doing...
you go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, they're both going to work first time, aren't they? I'm going to scream. Like, this was one of the reasons why I was recording for like 4 hours the other day on the BIOS video, because I was pissing about with these boards and I couldn't get a picture out of either of them. And I was like, what is happening right now? Also, though, we should check this this RAM module to see if it was bad RAM that was punking me. Fur market, yeah, on this hideous. What were these graphics cards again? They're Radeon HD
5450s.
5450, yeah.
Oh, I found the screw.
Wow.
I found the screw you lost out of the AM4 clips.
Oh, cool.
Have yet another one. There you go.
Oh, put that in the pile there. Cool. Right. Oh, that's the 3400G. Right. Okay. Where did the 27? Yeah. Let's find out if that 2700 works.
I've got a 5700G
Oh, sorry, the 5700G.
and a 5700X.
Yeah. Oh, yes, the 57.
G and X.
Yeah, the 5700X. That's the new AliExpress chip.
Yes.
But it would be nice to confirm that that works. And then, yeah, if that works, we'll stick this memory stick in it and just see if it was memory that was punking me. 3400G is degraded, right? Yeah. Both the G, we've got a 3400G and a 5400G here. They're both degraded. And what that means is that they will turn on, they will post, and they'll boot up. But if you leave them to idle, it will freeze because the voltage drops too low and the chip locks up. So you can make them work and you can overvolt them to make them work, but they're kind of done. And that problem only gets worse as well. Because like every time I've had that, people have been like, just up the volts and it'll work. And I'm like, yeah, for what, a week, a month? It's done. It's toast. It's had it. So yeah. Oh, it's doing something. The CPU fan just changed speed.
There we go.
Wow. All right. Yep. I'm going to flip this beep speaker around because we're not getting any noises out of it.
It is a
5700X.
5700X.
Cool. Okay. Let's stick this in there and see if it all goes wrong. I'm going to swap places because you're kind of doing everything here, so I'll put you in the driver's seat, so to speak. I'll go to the producer's chair.
I will now produce a chair. Are you okay over there?
Did you ever get the machine to switch out motherboard sockets? I did. I just never got around to actually practicing with it. And I don't think I'm going to attempt it with my current hot air station. I think I'll need a 1000-watt hot air station to try that. Oop. So yeah, I don't think my quick 650 watt will have it.
You need to do the capture.
Oh. I might do. I'm going to do a U. Ah.
Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, I can't believe it. Best repair channel on YouTube, everyone.
But also the beep speaker doesn't work.
Yeah, I was going to say we still haven't had any beeps out of it. Fine. Well, at least the board is working. So yeah, who knows what was going on when I was working on it the other day. I'm wondering if maybe my capture was punking me.
Oh, there we go. So that works at least.
Okay. Yeah, try the other board as well, I guess. Whack. On the plus side, though, this means that I can use it for because, like I said, the hotfix video that I want to do for the BIOS series, I wanted to use one of these boards for that one. So I could say, okay, right, here's the cable I used on the AM5 board, let's repin it to work on one of these AM4 boards. And also, these AM4 boards have got SOP8 chips on them instead of WSON, so you can see what that looks like as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's so it's double duty. I'm hoping that like each time I do a video, I'm showing a different example kind of thing.
That makes sense.
'Cause, like, lots of people in the comments have been saying like, oh, can you show me how to do X? And I'm like, that's kind of hyper specific, and like, I'm not gonna. They're like, oh, can you show us how to reset the BIOS on reset the password on this motherboard? And I'm like, I don't have that specific one, and the answer would be specific to that one. So like, I don't know. That's not suited to this broad scope series.
It's not just a psi; it's an HD psi.
Where are you getting the psi from?
My thumb.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, psi, but high quality. None of this low quality garbage we've got at the moment.
See, tech.
Right.
Technology from the sea.
If I go to bench cam with face at the moment, I'm just quickly testing, guys. Stay with me. Ooh.
Stay with me.
I'm going to see if we can just do a monitor view so I don't have to dick around so much with the capture. Sometimes, maybe. There we go. Cool.
Plonk.
All right.
Ah,
That does work.
CPU fan.
Mentioned AMD boards are 1.8 volt BIOS. I did.
Well, more you mentioned, look at the data sheet.
Yeah. Which is more important.
Which is the actual useful answer.
Yeah. Like the trick is to actually look at the chip you're dealing with, not the platform, because
Good. What?
yeah.
Good.
If you only talk about platforms, like it might just be that like, you know, all AM4 chip motherboards will have a 1.8 volt BIOS, but also like instead of saying that, it's better to show people how to figure out what voltage it is. That's more useful. You've got to teach people how to speak the language, not just make them memorize the dictionary. You can get pretty far by memorizing the dictionary, but also it's not the correct way to learn either.
I'm giving sneeze.
All right.
It works.
Capture with face. It still works. I can't believe it. Whatever.
See?
None of this was working the other day.
Go sip your apple juice.
Okay.
I have done it. I have fixed you. You are healed.
Yeah. Could we check? Could we check one of the other CPUs on onboard video again? I'm sure it'll work fine, but I just want to double check because yeah, that was the original reason why I wanted to use the AM4 boards with these dodgy CPUs. Is I wouldn't need a graphics card in the board, and yeah. The other thing as well is that I seem to have completely lost the 1060. Actually, I actually have lost it. I looked around for it for like half an hour. I don't know how I've managed to lose it, but you want cider? It's true.
What's that? That's a 5700G. That's a 3400G. Cool.
Ba-ba.
Stab it.
5700X and a B450 is a great combination. Really still, yeah. I mean, I would be trying to get a B550 motherboard for it, but like the build the build that we did for my friend a couple of weeks ago, that I took up to Glasgow, yeah, it still works cool. Yeah, the build that we did a couple of weeks ago that I took up to my friend in Glasgow, that was a 5700X on a it was on an X570 board because we had a flashy motherboard for it, but even still, that really was a great little build, I think. Like, sure, you know, in a perfect world, we would have been able to do a AM5 build, but in the current era where DDR5 is unobtainable, it's still a really great system. And even if he ended up buying a newer graphics card for it, he could drop a big boy graphics card in there and still have a great time. That 5700X would probably be perfectly fine all the way up to a flagship graphics card. Don't know about Halo, but certainly flagship without major issue. But yeah, I wouldn't... B450 is not preferable, yeah, because as Al
The
Bundy
B450 boards weren't overly great.
No, they were adequate, but yeah, as Al Bundy said, you're limited to PCI Express 3, which can cause problems depending on what it.
Depending on GPU.
Yeah, there are certainly GPU combinations you can use where that's just not going to be an issue. However, there are certainly some GPUs that are just now not viable because of that.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. Always funny when the thing shut. Yeah, I know. We've got to figure something out for that. I don't know what. All right. Okay. Well, that was very boring because that all just worked straight off the bat. I'm kind of out.
Sack the technician.
Yeah. Apparently so. And there's nothing else interesting I can do because the next interesting thing I wanted to do with these boards is video content. So I think we might be back to just doing chatter, folks. The UPS and all its noise. Maybe. I need to actually try and modify that UPS so it's usable.
Ah!
Very well. Might have a quick look and just see if there's anything I've got to fix at the moment. Don't think there's anything suitable for this stream though. No. Okay, I think we might be going back to chatter for now.
Be gone.
What if we did a PC spec?
Oh, you have a 3800 XT as well.
I think that one's dead. Actually, should we find out? Like,
No.
the rig is here. Actually, I can't be bothered. Yeah, I'm fairly certain. No, my knees. I'm fairly certain that 3800 XT is killed. I think it's mega dead. It's probably worth noting if it posts, then it's worth keeping it kicking around. It's been handy to have, even though these CPUs are degraded, the fact that they post means they're worth having kicking around. But yeah, if the 3800 XT is turbo dead, then that is not worth keeping, and I will throw it across the room. Time to build a new PC. Yeah, I'm kind of tempted to say, like, just out of interest, what would we build? Right, if we wanted to build a PC, if your mate's PC fell off the desk and smashed into a million pieces, and they've got, I don't know, £800, £900 to spend on a new PC, so they can't afford to just buy DDR5. You know, what do we build? What do we build? iGPU build? Absolutely not.
I would build, I imagine, something, a 5700 or 5800 with whatever motherboard you can find on eBay that day, and something like a 7700.
Yeah. Let's see if this works, and then let's actually
That's what I'd imagine.
Let's spreadsheet that and see if that actually works.
Oh,
Let's see if DDR4 prices are actually. Oh my god. And see if DDR4 prices are actually viable or not. 16 gigabytes of DDR5. No, not at less than $1,000.
do you know what I need to do? Plug in the HDMI.
Yeah. Open Core Legacy Patch Upgrade vid. What is Open Core Legacy Patch Upgrade? I've seen people talk about Open Core stuff. What is that? Why might I want to do that?
It's for making ancient Macs using newer versions of macOS.
Don't care. Next question. Yeah.
Oh, do you know what else I probably need?
What?
Can you tell? Can the technician tell?
Yeah, you got no RAM in there. We got no engines.
The RAM is an expensive upgrade.
Unless you run NeuOS on Apple Mac. Yeah, don't care. Do not care.
By the time that comes relevant, the Mac is somewhat irrelevant.
Yeah. That's the problem. Like, I've done an open core patch on like an older iMac before, and it ran like shit because it was trying to run a modern version of macOS on an old ass Mac that didn't have enough RAM, didn't have enough CPU horsepower, didn't have any graphics. And like people think that if you know, they're like, oh, but if I can get it up to like Sonoma or something like that, it'll be good and it'll be supported. It's like, no, you'll still have a 15-year-old CPU in there, and it's gonna run like a 15-year-old CPU. That's not going to make it fast. It's going to make it even slower than if you were just running like High Sierra, and like I would rather people just run High Sierra with WaterFox or whatever still works on High Sierra. Like, run High Sierra and just run whatever ancient browser is doing old macOS support, you know. So yeah, you did Sequoia on a MacBook Air 2015. Yeah, and it's dual core i5, you know, with maybe 8 gigabytes of RAM. How'd that go? You know, it's just, and I'm not trying to be a snob here. I'm not saying to people simply spend £1,400 on a new MacBook. I'm just saying,
don't spend £300 on a 2019.
Exactly. Just
Then
like
spend £320 on a 2020 M1.
yeah, and like okay, well, what if your budget is zero? You know, what if you can't afford £320 on that? It's like, cool, then buy a Latitude for £120 on eBay.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, well, what if you can't afford that? Then you're running High Sierra and a browser that's still supported, because there are a couple of browsers that still support the ancient stuff. You know, and like, because also like the problem is people come in and they say, oh, can you upgrade it to support this? And they're like, well, you're willing to pay me money for this. How much do you think I'm going to charge to do all of this work on your old ass Mac?
Well,
You
you charge them £200,
Yeah.
and then say, "Or I can sell you this Latitude for £200."
That's it. This is the thing. It's just there's just no planet where it makes any sense.
Yeah.
If you're a tech nerd and if you're an old computer nerd and you want to tinker with an old computer, fine. If you're doing it for the lols, fine. But I have no interest in that. I have no interest in that, and it's not economically viable.
Yeah, but also the CPU seems to CPU.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. 99% certain it's degraded, which is why it's here. Otherwise, it would still be in the customer's computer. So yeah, that's fine. But it does post. Install Linux on your ancient Macs. Maybe. Yeah. Like that.
I mean, it's still going to be an ancient computer.
Yeah, however, at least that would get you onto a supported operating system. So that's not bonkers.
I guess.
Like I said, normally, you know, like, and as I say, I'm coming around to Linux because my early Linux foray is showing that they're like, wow, I think Linux is good now. You know,
That's not my point. My
No.
point is the fact it's still a 15-year-old computer.
Yes, true. Yeah, and the moment you start playing a YouTube video, you've now 100%ed your CPU. You know, so yeah.
So it's like, yes, I get that, but it's also the case of that's not something I'm going to sell someone.
Yes,
And
real.
I think that's the point that people don't quite get, is the fact that this needs to be something that you are selling to someone.
That's
And
it.
what you need to sell to someone actually is an M1.
Yeah. And I don't really have any interest in doing walkthrough videos on how to do it, because I think that because my videos are targeted at repair technicians who are potentially going into business, or repair technicians who already work at a shop or own a shop and are like, I need to learn this board repair stuff. How do I get started? So I'm trying to give the lessons that I wanted to receive when I had started learning this stuff. So, yeah. How is Asahi Linux nowadays? I've not looked at, is Asahi Linux specifically for Macs? Like, is that a Mac distro?
Where's the other case? There's the other case.
Yeeg.
Give me your case.
Yeah, and yeah, as I say, the M1 Macs, you can find the M1 Macs cheap now, and they're still really good. I took I do light Blender work on a M1 MacBook Air. Like, obviously, it's not going to do renders very well, but like, you don't, you know, you can do all of your composition. You can do all of your posing and stuff like that, and then, you know, you can do that on the laptop, and then when you get home, you can then render it on your big rig. I mean, you can render it; it's just going to take a while. But yeah, It's a distro that's specifically for Apple Silicon Macs. Okay, interesting.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And what was that called again? Sahi.
Asahi.
Oh, okay.
So Asahi, like the beer. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd do that on an M1 Silicon Mac. When the M1s go out of support, that might suddenly become very interesting. I'd be more interested in stuff that can make a MacBook Air 2017 not garbage, because at the moment, the current victims are people who've got a MacBook Air 2017, because that was the MacBook Air 2017 was like just before the MacBook Air Retina, and it's still the A1466 chassis. So it's a chassis that was already really old in 2017. So like now and then I get people coming in with these A1466 2017 MacBook Airs, and it's in great condition, and it's not, you know, it's at that sort of 7 or 8 year mark where it's just like,
Well, 8, 9 now.
yeah, I guess, yeah, but like a MacBook you expect 10 years service out of is not unreasonable, and the MacBook Air 2017 just
guess.
isn't doing that, and like
For
Yeah.
non-money making purposes, sure.
yeah, I mean
For
I guess-
for an average browser pusher, 10 years, yeah.
yeah,
But you're gonna get
that's the
Yeah.
type, yeah.
Yeah.
So like if Asahi could take one of those Macs and make it feel snappy and responsive because lightweight, then
Yeah.
there's a conversation there, you know. But yeah, for Apple Silicon, because M1 is still supported, I don't know why you wouldn't run Tahoe, to be honest. So yeah.
yeah.
Your videos would be for the average Joe core public. Yeah, but the average Joe core public are not doing board level repair. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they're not allowed to try it, and if they can derive useful information from that, that's great. But that's not the level I'm targeting.
Yeah.
Because you know, like the like that suggests, because like there are lots of people who watch my videos who are just like, no, I'm never ever going to try and fix a computer. I just like watching you do it. You know, I don't need to cater to them. They're not the target demographic. They're bystanders who are interested in watching someone else do it. But that doesn't mean you target them, you know.
Tahoe supports the 2019 Apple Intel.
Yeah, you've got a because you got a
So
2019.
I've got a 41. No, I'm not. A 2841.
Yeah, you've got like the last one before Apple Silicon.
I've got the 2019 one.
Yeah.
And then there's a 2020 Intel Mac as well.
Oh, was there?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's effectively an early 2020, which is an Intel, and then there's a mid 2020,
Which
which is
was
the
M1.
Apple Silicon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm impressed your one got Tahoe then in that case. I thought we were down to literally
It's
the
because it's the
last
MacBook Pro 16 inch.
one. Yeah.
If I remember correctly, they dropped the Air from the 19s
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and the 13 inch Pro.
Certainly, I'll be astonished, and yeah, I guess because I wonder if the existence of the Mac Pro Xeon is what is extending support for some of the MacBook Pros as well, because the Mac Pro,
Christ, because they sold that to the end of 2020, didn't they?
yeah, they probably sold about 10 of them, but you know, even
Yeah,
still,
but they sold it as new until the end of
that's
2020,
it.
didn't
Because the Mac Pro Xeon exists and it was ludicrously expensive, they kind of have an obligation to provide some level of support to it. So, and like if they're supporting that, they're supporting the architecture, and if they're supporting that, that happens to work on the MacBook Pros that are still of that
Yeah.
same era. So I guess they're supporting those as well.
they? Yeah,
I think that's the only reason why the 2019 still have support.
yeah.
So yeah. You have a Mac Pro Xeon. Why?
Yeah, 2141.
Why? It was terrible. Oh, well, no, that's not fair. It was genius and terrible in equal measure. It was brilliant, but dead on arrival.
Well, yeah, but he's also talking about like the socket 1336 one.
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought you meant the modern cheese grater. Yeah. Yeah, no. I'm talking about the cheese grater. You know the fancy one.
Ooh.
Yeah, the one that came out and everyone was just like, "Why isn't this a Threadripper?" You know.
Oh God, yeah! It literally launched.
Yeah.
Within months, didn't it, of Threadripper?
Yeah, and like Threadripper.
That was awkward.
And at the time, and it launched with Xeon CPUs that Threadripper annihilates.
Yeah.
Like,
because
it's
LTT
comical.
Because LTT did a video, and they were running a virtual machine of MacOS on a Threadripper, and that virtual machine was faster than the Xeon.
On bare metal. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. The one with the cheap. Hang on a sec. Let me just bring up a picture because that'll just settle this. Mac Pro. What do we call it? Xeon. Images. There we go. Hang on a sec. This one.
The Xeon W range. Yeah, that's
this
what
one.
it was.
That one. The Xeon W. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. This one was just DOA. Apple were probably developing this for literally 2 years, and they obviously started developing it before Threadripper, or before Threadripper was relevant. But by the time
before it was known that the Xeon W was going to be a
trash, bit
of a damp flannel.
Yeah. So like this thing came out, like the engineering in this thing, the work they did for the PCI Express slots, and the way the graphics card works and the fancy slots. Incredible, but that's not a lot of use when you can buy a Threadripper for half the money that will annihilate it. You know, the only people for whom this made any sense whatsoever was basically
Pixar.
And was basically people who actually needed that PCI Express. So sound engineers who needed to fill it up with exotic sound cards and sound interfaces.
Yeah.
Who needed that PCI Express. For everyone else, it was just DOA. You're off for food. Catch you later, Si. Yeah. Kind of wacky.
Oh my God. The refurbished 16-core version. £7,700.
Why? Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm amazed.
Oh, and it also has 2 of the Radeon Pro W5700X and the Apple Afterburner.
Yeah.
I can kind of understand that because it's got the Apple Afterburner.
Even still, I'm amazed they're not just fire sailing these things.
Yeah.
Because, like, how long are they going to support that for? It's 7,000. Like, when you're paying that much for it, there's kind of an obligation that you expect it to have support for X many years. You know. But yeah, I don't know. Also, though, yeah, like it's been a while, so I forget. But like, I know that the Afterburner is like this crazy fast video encoder.
Yeah.
But like, how fast is it really? You know, I don't know. It's kind of whack.
Man.
Max Xeon quad core with 2 optical drives. Oh yeah. No, old, not what we're talking about. Apple hired the OpenCore legacy patcher developer, so now it's and it stops it. That's interesting. That's a shame that it's a shame that means OpenCore legacy patcher is now dead. Not that I had any skill in that game, but it's a shame that it doesn't exist because obviously people did enjoy it. However, I guess Apple turning around and saying we're going to give you a job, we'll find something for you to do, so you're not making OpenCore.
What would you prefer?
Okay.
Xeon W, 16 core, with 48 gigs of RAM, 2 W5700X, and an Afterburner card for £7,700, or an Apple Studio M2 Ultra 24-core CPU, 76-core GPU for 4,200.
Yeah, 4,200. God, those are expensive though. For the M2, really?
For the M2 Ultra, yeah.
M2 Ultra, yeah. Oh, 76 core GPU. Holy crap, they went hard on those, didn't they? Yeah. Don't know.
With 64 gigs of RAM and 2 terabytes of storage.
Yeah. The problem is, I don't know.
Do you know what I'd go with?
Yeah. Like, firstly, make no mistake. You buy the studio. What's wrong with you? Why are we talking about this? But also, yeah, we're talking about an area where, like, I don't have enough expertise in these workstation areas to know, like, yeah, I don't do anything workstationing. And the closest I get to workstation stuff is Blender, and I'm working at such a low end of Blender that I don't need workstation performance for it, because I'm working at a level where, you know, when I'm doing general work, like, Blender doesn't actually need a lot of horsepower for when you're just designing in Blender. Blender requires a lot of horsepower when you go to render, and for me, the kind of rendering that I'm doing is 15 to 30 seconds per frame, and I'm not doing animation work. So I'm quite happy to just push F12 and wait 15 to 30 seconds for it to spit out a frame. Like, when I start doing animation work, I'm going to care a bit more, because you know, like, when I did the B580 video, I did that very short Blender animation, and that took like an hour to render. But, like, on the other hand, though, I could have left that running overnight or something. Who cares, you know?
Yeah, you could genuinely go 8 times longer and just hit F12 when you go to bed, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And at that point, I could have had it spit out much higher quality results. Like, I think that render was something like 64 samples at 1080p or something like that. Whereas if I was actually serious, I'd be wanting to do 128 or 256 samples per frame at 4K.
Yeah.
But that would have been like quadruple the frame time, you know. That's the cost of a good used car. Yeah, this is the problem, is I find it difficult to weigh in on this because I'm not the target market for these machines. They sound extremely fast. I'm sure they're very good, but I don't do professional level video editing. You know, like, I do video editing as a profession, but, like, I'm not banging out Premiere projects where I'm working on 8K video and stuff like that, which is who these things are for. So, yeah.
Wow, I think that shows you how fast GPU rendering is. 2 AMD EPYC 9965 192 core processors.
Yeah.
In Blender Open Benchmark, 9,671 points.
9600, okay, yeah.
Yeah. 5090.
Yeah.
15,000.
Yeah. Yeah, like, for a while in Blender, I had my CPU selected as an additional render device to speed up my render time, so it would use the CPU and the graphics card. However, the problem I ran into is that while it's doing the render, it tanks the whole computer because everything just bangs onto 100%. However, the CPU was contributing so little compared to the graphics card that I was like, I could switch that off. The render will take another 5 seconds maybe, but I can carry on scrolling through Discord while it renders, you know. Whereas, you know, when you're rendering on the CPU as well, your entire computer grinds to a halt while it renders the frame, you know. So it's just, CPU rendering is not part of the equation. Just forget about it, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah. Is there any DDR5 RAM you'd recommend now price-wise, or do you think I should wait? I'm video editing, currently using DDR4. I would wait because there is nothing I could possibly recommend because prices are just stupid. And I don't know, man. I can't see this lasting. I have no evidence to support that other than just vibes. But, you know, the current price epidemic, I can't see a world where it lasts. And even if it does, it's so extreme right now that I'd be like, just hold on. If you've got a half decent system already, just hold on. Even if you've got to hold on for 6 months, 12 months, it's not worth paying quadruple the value, you know. So yeah. Think we are permanently fricked with DDR5 prices? It can't last. It can't last.
Why not?
AI is in just such an unsustainable position right now.
So?
And these prices require the AI bubble to sustain.
They require the 3 manufacturers of DDR to maintain the prices. There are 3 manufacturers who are now making money on DDR5, where they haven't made money until now on DDR5.
Sure, but it's still going to come down by a lot. It's not going to sustain at the current price. Even if we settle down to a higher price level, like, the prices right now just don't make sense. Like, you know, like, really, who's paying £350 for 32 gigs of RAM? Like, you have to actually be an idiot to pay that money unless you have no other choice. And, like, I know they're still going to be selling because there's going to be people who have no choice. They're like, I have to buy a computer. I do not have a computer. I have to buy this. My job requires me to buy this. So I have to pay whatever the asking price is. But that's nowhere near the same amount as people who are upgrading for pleasure. And I know that the enthusiast market is small, but still, you know, I cannot see a world where these prices are sustainable. But yeah. Yeah, although of course, you know, this also brings in the question of we make so much money on this high margin item that we end up making more money than selling 10 times as much of a low margin item.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be true. As Reploid says, they're making bank, even if they're selling 10% of the previous amount. If they're making more profit on 10% at obnoxious margins, then maybe. I don't know. Scanner got 16 gigs for 200. Yeah, terrible. That's 4x the price. That's 4 times the price that it was in November. Yeah, we'll see. I think we'll. Yeah, I don't. The problem, I have desires, you know. I have desires for the bubble to pop and AI to go away in its current form, and it's easy to look at OpenAI and see that OpenAI are not in a good place right now. Although we'll see how that goes, because like they took Uncle Sam's money, and then after the backlash said, okay, actually let's not build let's renege on that and say no, we won't allow you to build mass surveillance and literal Terminators.
Well, they'd already said that anyway.
Okay.
That was already a condition in the agreement they signed, and then they got dropped anyway, even though it was already a condition in the...
No, that was Anthropic.
And then OpenAI signed exactly the same deal as Anthropic was pushing for.
Yeah,
that's why it screamed so much of insider trading.
Yeah.
Because Anthropic got put on the entity list.
Yeah.
For that deal, that contract, and then OpenAI got the same deal the same day that Anthropic was put on the entity list.
Oh, I see. I thought
that's why it screams of insider trading.
Yeah, I thought Anthropic said no, we do not agree to our technology to be used for Terminators.
Yeah,
and
they
OpenAI were just like, yeah, no, we'll do that. That's what I thought happened.
Yeah. No.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. But
Oh boy. Would you like to buy Kingston Fury Beast DDR5 5600 CL40 for £1,324
Okay.
for a 4x32 kit, which then makes it effectively £10.30 per
okay.
gigabyte.
Okay, forget
So
what
you
is
can then split
ludicrously
that.
expensive, because that's boring.
Because then you can split that. But it's still
okay.
a case
Yeah.
that it's still horrifically expensive.
Yeah.
And the only things that are in stock are the 32, the 2x32 and 4x32
What
kits.
actually makes sense right now? Like, if we look at 16 gigs and 32
Functionally
gigs.
nothing.
Yeah, okay. Well, sorry, I'll rephrase that. Not what makes sense, but let's say
Yeah.
I have to buy 16 gigs or 32 gigs, whatever is maybe viable. What do
Yeah.
I do? I want to build an AM5 system today. What do I do?
Yeah.
What have we got? Because like every now and then people will post in chat and be like, lol, look at this price, and they'll post like really expensive RAM kit, and I'm like, yeah, no one's buying that. You know, who cares?
Yeah.
What is available though?
Very little.
Yeah.
There's at least 5 pages of out of stock RAM on PC Part Picker.
Okay.
The first one that's in stock at the lowest price
Yeah.
on here, apparently,
Yeah.
is 96 gigs of DDR5 5600
Okay.
for 650 quid. It's
Okay.
£6.77 a gig.
Yeah, okay, let's come down to like 32 gig kits though. What's the first one available?
That is what I'm trying to find.
Yeah. Can you not sort by in stock on PC Part Picker?
Not that I can immediately see.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things where like most of the time that's not something you'd consider necessary, but at the moment the PC Part Picker website is kind of a dumpster fire because it's pages of stuff that you can't buy.
Yeah.
What repairs do you have? There's not much in the pipeline, Firephone. You might have noticed that I've only released one video in the past month.
2x16.
So yeah, working on projects at the moment.
2x16, 290 quid, supposedly.
Sorry, say that again. 2x16,
290 quid.
£290. Yeah. Yeah. And what speed does that get you?
5600, 30, 36, 36, 88.
That's not dire. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
going to say that's good, but that's, you know, that's not like CL40,
Yeah.
you know.
And apparently it will be delivered Tuesday.
Huh, okay.
So, actually in stock.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, £290 for a tolerable speed. Not what we should have, but like that's fine. That
At least
will
it's
work.
at least it's 5630 and not 5648.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's fine. You know, you might be dropping maybe 5 or 10 FPS on that
Oh.
in a sensitive game. You know.
Or you can get some 6000 CL30 for 300.
Oh, interesting. 6000 CL30 for 300. It exists. It's real.
Apparently, again from overclockers.
That's probably why my stuff isn't selling on eBay then, because I'm asking for that on eBay. So yeah. In fact, I'm asking for more than that on eBay, so that's why my stuff isn't selling.
Yeah, this is 30, 36, 36, 76.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
fine. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's the. I feel like we're trending down at the moment. Hold the line. Hold the line. So yeah, and yeah. Mike's Unboxing saying lost the 32 gigs on eBay for 200-ish. Yeah. Are any of them any good though? You know, that's the thing. Like I would settle for like 5200, 5600, 5800 CL30-ish. What we don't want to be doing is spending like, if you're going to be paying like £300, you don't want CL40, 4600 garbage, you know, because the problem at that point is like, we all know that high-speed RAM is overrated, but like there comes a point where you've dropped so much speed that is actually going to impact your performance in a meaningful way.
Oh, interesting. Clev is SK Hynix in-house brand.
Yes. Yes, we had discovered that at one point.
Huh.
But yeah.
I hadn't realised that also meant that they were solely SK Hynix
Yeah.
sourcing.
Clev were super based. Before the prices exploded, like I have got the kit that I showed in the BIOS video. That's my 6000 CL28 Clev kit that I
Oh,
bought
yeah.
for £86 in November. Oh. I weep not for the prices, but I weep not for how much it costs, but what we have lost. You know, that's the thing. We had it. Cheap computing was here. People have all been saying how, graphics card prices never recovered. They had. Graphics card prices had recovered. They had become affordable. You could buy high-end.
Oh, yeah, what
You
a
could buy
pointless
AMD's
kit.
flagship for £600. It's been a decade since we've had prices that good.
What a pointless bin. But yeah, it existed, but like that was such a pointless bin. 28, 36, 36, 76. Okay.
Yeah, but still. Yeah, also a couple of folks said congratulations on the 200k. Thank you very much. Yep, I'm very happy to see that. Yes, the channel is currently in growth. Not like big growth,
Yeah.
but it is trending upwards again. Like the channel's growth history has sort of been, and now it's trending up again. Not
Yeah.
steeply, but it is creeping up again, and I'm happy about that.
Oh.
I'm not going to be doing a 200k special because I'm not going to do a 200k special. I'm going to wait for 250 because that's the next actual milestone. And like at one point, I would have done a 200k special because I was kind of thinking, I think 200k is going to be it. I think that's where I'm going to top out. But at the moment, call me arrogant, but I think I'll see 250. And if I put in the legwork, I think I could see 250k this year. That's. I'm not going to hedge my bets. I'm not going to put money on it, but I'm going to put in effort, like doing the BIOS series and stuff like that, and putting in the work. I'm looking for 250,000 subscribers this year, and that'll be the point where I'm just like, that's it. That's enough. That's my magnum opus. If I top out there, I'll be happy. So yeah.
Interesting. Clev,
Yeah.
they're specifically stating that their SSD has a DRAM cache. That's the first time I've seen anyone specifically state that.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. Is having a DRAM cache still this means it's a good SSD indicator?
It's certainly the it's not shit indicator.
Yeah, I suppose.
Which is the very important
It's not a sure thing, but it does mean that it's not a lemon. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
And to be honest, that's all you really need with SSDs anyway.
Yeah. Dryster is saying, RAM was way more expensive back in the day. My 386 cost me £4,000. That's because it was bleeding edge technology, Like these days, computers they kind of are bleeding edge in a way, but like that's, I don't think
The existence of a computing device isn't.
Yeah, the existence of computers is not revolutionary these days. So actually, yeah, we can want affordable computing. This is a frustration I have, is that just because something was cheap doesn't mean it should still be cheap. And just because something was expensive doesn't mean that it should still be expensive today. My basis of comparison is what it was at one point. If we take graphics cards as an example, back in the Maxwell days, so GTX 900 series, the GTX 960, you could find GTX 960s for between £200 and £300. That was a mid-range graphics card. That's how much a mid-range graphics card cost. And sure, the most expensive graphics cards money can buy, those have kind of just kept going up in price. But my basis of comparison is how much the average, the mid-range cost, because that's what most people were buying. And then obviously the GPU apocalypse came along, and like the 20 series was too expensive, and then the 30 series was unobtainium, and then things have been slowly coming down. But at the end of last year, you could buy mid-range graphics cards like the B580 for just over £200. And, the 5060, the 5060 was like, high 200s. That was like probably 280, but still £200 to £300 for a mid-range graphics card that is fine. And so this was basically what I was celebrating in the Arc B580 video, that we had this graphics card that was like £220. I built my LAN box with 32 gigs of high-speed DDR5 RAM and a 7500F, which was a decent CPU. I had a brand new current generation PC that could be built for about £600 or £700. And that dream is lost now. That's why I'm angry about the price of computers. It's easy to say, oh, computers used to cost £4,000 when I was a lad. Who cares? A couple of months ago, they were £600 or £700.
Yeah.
That's what I'm angry about. That's what I lament the loss of. We had cheap, affordable gaming PCs that the average person could afford to build a good mid-range current generation PC. We had it. It was within our grasp. That's what I'm sad about.
Luckily, at least.
Mid-range is used now. I agree. Right now, I think, right now, if you want to build mid-range, I still say buy a used graphics card. Radeon 6800, Radeon 6800 XT, awesome bang for buck. Amazing value for money. Again, they cost about £200 to £300, and that gets you a lot of bang for your buck.
Yeah.
But you could have had brand new.
Yeah, but the 9060 XT 16 gig is 350 quid from Overclockers, and there's 3 models at that price. So that's not...
It's not terrible.
Yeah.
It's not great, but
It's not
that's not
bad.
terrible. That's not RAM prices
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. And it's only gone up. It's only gone up £20 from the cheapest ever price.
That's not bad, yeah.
So,
like graphics cards, they
half and
have gone
half.
up a bit, but they're not insane,
Yeah.
Because
But
I was
then,
having
kind
a
of
look.
on the flip side, you look at what monitors have done, and monitors have cratered.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a case of this isn't the year for upgrading your RAM or your CPU or your GPU, maybe.
Great time
but
to
it's
buy a new
certainly a
screen.
good time of actually getting a good monitor.
That's-
Stop being on 1080p 60.
That's an interesting conversation, yeah. For people who have got the itch to upgrade something where they're like, I want to upgrade my computer, now's a great time to upgrade your monitor. Now's a great time to
good.
buy a new keyboard and mouse.
I was about to say I would be horrified if you were spending £300 on a 6600 XT, which is what you just said, £200 to £300.
6800 XT.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because yes, I was going to say no. The 6600 XT is like 150 quid. Do not pay £300.
No. I think the 6800 XT is the only one from the 6000 series that I would like to buy now. The 6700, I think the 67...
The 6700 XT, when you can get them for like
Yeah, that's-
190, 200.
Yeah, that's still 12 gigs, right?
That's 12, yeah.
Yeah. The 6700 XT and the 6750 XT, those are... That's my minimum viable. So for AMD, 6700 XT, 6750 XT at around 200-ish, or a 3060 12 gig, that's my minimum viable. If you go any lower than that, it's kind of not worth buying, in my opinion. If you go any lower than that, you should just save up a bit more money.
Yeah.
The human eye can only see 1366 by 768, 59 hertz.
Mods, ban that man.
Put this man in the pear wiggler. Are you familiar with the pear wiggler?
No.
I'm going to pull up the pear wiggler because I still think it's extremely funny. Hold on.
Okay.
The pear wiggler.
So, you can spend 330 to 330 to £400 on a 6800 XT, or you can pay £350 for a 9060 XT. Do you know which one I would buy?
Sorry, say those two options again.
350 to 400 for a 6800 XT. Or 350
Okay,
for a 9060 XT.
those prices are garbage. Like, is that actually the best you can find? If so, 6800.
It's the best that's actually like buy it instead of this is faulty.
Yeah. What about 6800 vanilla, the non-XTs?
Yeah.
Are the non-XTs available at a half decent price?
I will
'Cause
have a gander in a
that's just
second.
not viable. That's just okay. The price on that
Oh,
one is
6800 is 290.
yeah, that's high, but just about plausible. However, even still, I think I'd buy it. I'd spend
Oh, 285, yeah. 285, that's okay.
Yeah, if you can get, I think you could find a 6800 non-XT for 270. I think that's doable in the current market. The prices have gone up a bit, but I think that's doable. They were 240. You could find non-XTs for 240
Yeah.
because that's what I put in my friend's PC. So yeah. However, once you get up near 300, you're right. You may as well just buy a 9060. Although, what's the speed difference? I know the age and generational gap becomes relevant at this point. Hold on. Here's the pair wiggler. The pair wiggler is this thing here. Basically, it was a simulator that simulated damage to pairs in transit.
Oh, I see.
Naughty children are put in the pair wiggler to atone for their crimes. Now you know what the pair wiggler is.
I see.
We can continue. These are naughty children get put in the pair wiggler to atone for their crimes. Will that do? Arc 12 gig is better, probably.
What, than a 9060 XT?
Better value, perhaps. Although I think the
No!
better value, not better performance. However, I think the arcs have crept up
No!
to too
Because it's
expensive now.
30% slower.
Yeah, but if it's like if the Arc B580 is still available for like £270,
Yeah.
that, you know, like I said, value, not performance, value. So yeah. 6800 XT is 12 gigs. No, it's 16 gigs.
What?
Yeah, the 6800 XT is 16 gigs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Incorrect.
But also, I would rather have a 16 gig GPU than a £290 B580.
Yeah, when the B580 was down in the low 200s,
Yeah.
awesome. I think it's too expensive. Yeah, now though, we're at the prices we're at, I'm like, no, I'm sorry, for 300 and up, I want 16 gigs of VRAM.
Yeah. And in answer of the question, as a rough barometer of speed, the 6800 XT is about 10% faster than a 9060 XT.
Yeah, so that's why the 6800 XT and the 6800 are still relevant, because they're still fighting in the same weight class as the 9060
Yeah.
XT.
The 6800 vanilla is slower,
Yes, how much slower is it?
like 4-5%.
Yeah, that's
But the
yeah.
9060 XT is double the ray tracing performance and has FSR4
So yeah, it's a question on whether you care about the generational differences or not.
and also is 160 watts, not 300.
True. Yeah. But of course, if you're trying to build on a budget of no, so again, taking my friend's PC
Yeah.
that we built, you know, that 6800 that I bought last year for £240.
Oh yeah, it was just the fact of the 6800
Yeah.
XT is the same price.
Yeah, now with the prices being what they
Yeah.
are right now,
Yeah.
yes,
At
I
the
agree.
same price, it's like I'd
Yeah.
have 10% slower
Yeah. Right
on
now,
average
at the prices-
but
yeah.
FSR4 and half the power usage.
Yeah. At the prices that we're seeing on eBay right now today, the
Yeah.
6800 XT does not make sense anymore.
Yeah.
It did, but it no longer does.
I imagine it's
Yeah.
going to go down a little bit
I
because
can't.
it
Yeah,
has to.
I'm kind of astonished that it's gone up to that price, because I'm like, why would you pay that? Why would you not just buy a 9060 now?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not sustainable. That must just be. I would hazard a guess as maybe it's diminishing supply.
Yeah.
So
7700 XT is
yeah,
£300. There you go.
All the cheap, affordable ones have gone down in price and sold, and only the expensive ones that aren't selling are left.
Yeah.
What about the 7000 series there?
7700 XT,
Yeah.
300.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah,
So that's okay. You
yeah.
go again back down to 12 gig, but
It's bearable. Yeah.
the performance is
Yeah.
there or thereabouts.
For the weight class of PC that for the weight class that we're targeting here, a mid-range PC that costs less than $1,000, 12 gigs is acceptable. Obviously, we would love to have 16 gigs, but beggars can't be choosers, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's nice to see that the 7000 series is now becoming economically viable, because the 7000 series has kind of stayed weirdly expensive. I think because it's only just last gen, it's still seen as a relevant generation, whereas the 6000 series is seen as old, even though it's still very competitive in performance.
How much is 7900 GREs?
Thoughts on the new 9CB RTX 5050? What is a 9CB RTX 5050?
God, what?
I'm immediately seeing 5050 and being like, whatever it is, no. But I'm curious, what is a 9CB 5050? 12 gigs will get you a lot further than 8. I agree, because the thing is that 8 gigs of VRAM isn't enough, but only by a little in a lot of cases.
12 gigs is also having problems
But
in a couple of games.
Yeah.
But it's just a fact of...
Again, beggars, choosers, etc., etc.
Yeah,
you know.
but it's just a case of be aware you're buying a graphics card that is having problems.
Yeah.
So you're
it's kind
already
of like
buying into having problems.
Yeah, it's kind of like buying 16 gigs of RAM in the year 2026. Is like 16 gigs is still enough, and like people who have 32 gigs of RAM, they're only using a little bit over 16, kind of. However, if you buy 16 gigs of RAM in 2026, you're basically guaranteeing that you are going to need to upgrade it in the future, and like that might be something you're willing to accept, but it's something that you have to understand, you know.
Sorry, what? There's a 9 gigabyte version of the 5050.
9 gigabyte OD memory.
How? I don't know how that works.
Is this some wacky AI thing that it's got just enough RAM to load basic AI models or something like that? What is this for? Unless it's like their modern day, one of their modern day Quadros, where they've got something where it doesn't need a lot of horsepower, it just needs enough VRAM. Because that was always the thing with Quadros, is horsepower bad, VRAM yes. Because Quadro is basically dead, isn't it?
But why would it be 9?
I don't know. 3 times 3 gigabyte modules or something like that. I don't know. I don't know my VRAM modules.
But that would
well.
require it to have 6 by standard. Yeah.
Pass. Yeah.
Oh, a 96 gigabyte bus. Oh, whack! It cuts down the bus from 128-bit. Oh my god!
I mean,
oh,
not
so
a
it's got-
50-50.
Yeah, but it also means it's got a disabled down core as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh my
any
God.
50-50s are probably 50-60s that have been downbinned so far that they were this close to being thrown in the bin, you know.
Oh no, don't worry. I'll make you feel really good about your 2000 series GPUs.
Okay.
The 5050 is faster than a 2080.
No. Is it actually?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Like that. Oh God. Man, 20 series is dead. It's so cooked, isn't it?
Yes.
That's genuinely depressing. Because like I owned a 2070 Super at some point. I was like, yeah, this is great, you know. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm not, you know, if your graphics card does what you need it to do, it's fine. Make no mistake. However, it's kind of wild how outclassed the 20 series has become.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. 20 series was always DOA. Yeah, I do agree with that, but still, that's kind of a shame. Because terrible.
Oof.
I'm still running a GeForce RTX 2080 Ti. Yeah, like, man, that's depressing that someone can rock up with some piece of shit 5050 and at least give your 2080 a bloody nose. You know.
Well, be faster than it. But if you have a 2080 Ti, you'll be 30% faster.
Damn, the Ti is that much quicker, is it? Yeah. Damn, okay. You're fine, William. You've got a Ti, you're fine. Yeah, this is the reason why the 3060 12 gig is my minimum standard. Because when you go any lower than that, you're basically straying into 20 series. And this is what happens. Like the 3060 12 gig, it's not great, but it works. 2080 Ti has more VRAM. True.
Yeah, it's got 11 gigs
Yeah.
on a 352-bit bus. So it actually gets a reasonably chunky upgrade in bandwidth, I think. Yeah, it goes from 448 to, what did I say, 616. Yeah, so it's 200 gigabytes a second faster for memory bandwidth. So that will definitely help it out a lot.
Yeah.
Quite a lot.
20 series was proof of concept for ray tracing. Yeah. It was certainly never any good, make no mistake. But yeah, like I said though, you know, I remember having a 20. So I went through a period of my life where I had a gaming rig in the shop that I spent a lot of time on, and that had a 2070 Super in it. And I was playing, you know, VR Phasmophobia on that. And I was playing Satisfactory with the graphics cranked on it. So like it was fine. And like this is something else that we need to remind people in this conversation, that like when we say, oh, 20 series is garbage and stuff like that, it's like, it's fine, it works, and if you've got one and it's playing what you need it to do, that's fine. Just what you need to understand is how many graphics cards there are that are faster. You know, this is the thing when you talk about this stuff, and like when people like I saw someone who had just got a new PC that had like a 4060 in it or something like that, and they were disappointed that it wasn't running a game at cranked graphics. And I was like, yeah, well, that's a mid-range graphics card.
It's a 4060.
Yeah.
It's a budget graphics card.
Yeah. And like when I said that, they were like sort of, this is brand new, I paid this amount of money for this PC. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, if it's playing what you need it to play, then that's fine, it's doing stuff. But just like understand that there are this many graphics cards above you in the stack. When you roll up at a Formula One race with other race cars, don't be surprised when you get demolished by the race cars. Yeah. You know, so however, if the graphics card you have is doing what you need it to do, cool.
Yeah,
that's fine.
But it's just a case of like the scaling is from the 2080 Ti to the 5090, 350%.
Yeah. That's it. The generational differences.
That's where we're up to.
Yeah.
So it's just a case of kind of that scaling of the 4060. It's 360% or something. Yeah. So it's just a case of the top end has accelerated away so fast.
Yeah.
From where it was.
Adam Cottrell, just a side thing, says, isn't a 3060 equivalent to a 6700 XT? Could you check that? They're both 12 gig cards.
I don't think so.
I think the 7600 XT, I think the 6700 XT is going to win that fight. However, the 3060 12 gig remains relevant in my eyes because you get you get usable ray tracing. Whereas I would not class the 6000 series as having usable ray tracing because it's first gen RT cores.
The 3060 12 gig.
Yeah.
No. I'll phrase that the other way around to make the numbers make more sense. The 6700 XT.
Yeah.
Is 27% faster than the 3060 12 gig.
Yeah.
And the 7600 XT is 17 or 18% faster.
Yeah. So yeah, this is why the 3060 is my minimum standard, because like the 60,
Specifically the 12 gig one.
Yeah. 3060 12 gig. Do not buy a 6 gigabyte graphics card.
Do not
Anyway.
buy the 3060 60 gigabyte, which isn't a 3060.
It's a 3050 or something.
It's
or whatever,
it's
yeah.
effectively a 3055.
Yeah. Anyway,
TI.
The point is, the 3060 is like the 3060 12 gig is very much a minimum viable performance, but it stays relevant because it is an NVIDIA RTX card, so it has usable ray tracing.
And it has DLSS 4.
Exactly. So that's why, like, I bought one the other month to put in one of my other machines over there, because like my last remaining RAM kit, I've split 16 and 16 in the two computers I have, and I stuck a 3060 in that. So now I have an actual usable gaming PC that I could sell for. I don't know how much I need to put a value on it.
For anyone who actually plays games
Yeah.
over just needing a GPU,
Yeah.
the 3060 12 gig is a better purchase than anything up to the 6700 XT, I would say.
Yeah. And certainly with 6800 prices being what they currently are, I think the 3060 12 gig has become possibly reasonably attractive.
Yeah. Although just the performance on there is 50%. It's a 50% performance swing between the 3060 and the 6800.
Fair, yeah. I think for the 1080p gaming that you enjoy, your 1660 Super Ventus is fine and dandy. Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that's what works for you, that's fine.
Oh yeah,
Like,
for sure.
Yeah.
We're talking about people who do not have a graphics card and are buying one.
Yeah.
This is how it washes out.
Yeah. Also,
Not
though,
if you have one of these, you're bad and you shouldn't own one.
No, make no mistake.
Yeah.
But also, like, I run the risk of opening a can of worms here. However, 1080p is dead. Please stop settling for 1080p. You can buy a 1440p high refresh monitor for less than £100. We can have better. You can have more. It's not expensive to have more than that. Not saying you have to do that. Not saying you should do that. I'm just saying it's not expensive to have more than what we had a decade ago. That is within our grasp at very little expense, you know. So, yeah. We're at 3 hours, 15 minutes. Yeah, probably. I'll
Quality be damned.
Okay.
4K, 160 hertz, 250 quid.
4K, wow, 4K.
4K, 160 hertz,
Yeah.
250 quid.
Damn.
Do not settle for 1080p
Yeah.
60.
And like, I wouldn't recommend people buy a 4K monitor if they're on a budget, because you probably don't have the graphics card to drive it.
No, but it's just,
However,
it's more of a
on
statement
principle.
of we need to stop settling for 1080p.
Yeah,
And
1080p
we need to stop
is-
inferring that 1080p is acceptable.
Yeah, like
If a graphics card launches as a 1080p graphics card, we should
What are we
clown
talking
it.
about?
It
Yeah.
needs to get clowned all the way to discontinuance.
yeah, like,
Because it's irrelevant for 2026
Yeah.
when 4K gaming monitors are 250 quid.
that's it. And like, likewise, again, you know, when I was reviewing the Arc B580,
Yeah.
you know, I was asking that to drive my high refresh 1440p panels. I did not even start up 1080p on that. I was like, I do not care about 1080p. This is not relevant in my world. I game at 1440p, you know. So that is what I asked of it, and it delivered. And that is a modern mid-range graphics card. And in addition to that, when I asked it to do VR, at that point, I'm asking it to drive dual 2K displays, because that's the equivalent of what my Quest 3 is running, you know.
Okay. Would you like a 4K 160 hertz screen with 576 dimming zones for like £400?
Damn. That's fancy.
Stop settling for 1080p 60.
Like, my God, I was paying like £400 a panel for my monitors, which are 1440p, 165 hertz, basic IPS. So like, monitors are so cheap. There's just
We need to, I say this again from the perspective of clowning on AMD and Nvidia when they launch a 1080p capable graphics card.
I'm like, no, just ugh. Stop. 1080p is dead. It's irrelevant. I will die on this hill.
So you say, okay, fine, I want over 240 hertz. How much does that cost me?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. You can buy a 1440p 320 hertz monitor for £187.
Yeah.
1080p is dead.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
1440p 260 hertz from another brand, £198. So yeah, we need to stop letting graphics card manufacturers sell us 1080p monitors.
Yeah. Daniel says, can we see ourselves talking about the 9070 XT being garbage in 5 years' time? Whoops. I push this button.
Oh, okay. That's the height it's actually gone to. I couldn't work out
I
why
see.
it wasn't going down, because I thought 3 we'd set to lower than this height. But
No,
apparently
the
we
sitting,
hadn't.
the sitting height goes down to sitting, but yeah, we had it at like 9500, something like that. Whatever. Yeah. I think the 9070 XT is going to stay relevant for a while because it's a really strong contender. Certainly at the price it's at, although obviously now the price is skewed up, it's less attractive. When it was £600 and giving the 5080 a bloody nose, I was in love with it. Now it's more like, £600 to £700. I'm like, it's fine, When you could buy a 9070 XT at 600 quid that will punch a 5080 in the face, that was awesome. But also just the 5080 is just a terrible value proposition. The 5080 is faster, but it's not £300 faster,
Yeah, 560 for
560 on Amazon. Oh, okay, yeah, it's come down in price again.
Yeah,
Now.
560 on overclockers.
Oh, that's all right. I thought they'd gone up to 6. I thought they were up to. Wait, really? Wow. Yeah. I thought they'd gone up more than that.
They are £740 on CCL. So don't buy it from CCL, buy it from overclockers.
Yeah, maybe I was looking at Amazon prices because Amazon is just garbage for graphics cards and has been for a while now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have looked at Amazon as a barometer and just seen a very obnoxious price. I don't know. What's the deal with that, man? Amazon just do not. Amazon is an awful place to buy a graphics card from now.
Oh yeah, even like the Acer Nitro OC is 630. And like that's actually a nice card
Yeah,
as well.
and that will punch a 5080 in the face. It'll lose the fight,
Yeah.
but the 5080 is going to come away with a bloody nose.
Yeah.
And considering the 5080 is going to cost you, what, 900 quid, a grand?
1500.
No, really?
1400.
Who's paying that? People
I
who...
bet.
This is
No,
what...
no, okay, £1,000.
Okay, yeah. But
Whack.
still...
Okay, we've got them in stock in the UK for £1,000.
Yeah, okay, fine, yeah. But still...
Oh, the US is getting shafted because they're like $1,500.
Gosh.
But also the dollar was down to being 1.4. So like, LOL.
Politics. Anyway.
Yeeks.
Yeah. But like, yeah, that's the thing. This is why we
Overclockers are just killing it at the moment because
Yeah.
overclockers have the cheapest 5080s as well.
Yeah, but this is why we keep saying AMD. Like, don't get me wrong. We're not AMD fanboys, but AMD just have the best game in town right now. Like, yeah,
There's a lot of value in that.
Yeah, that's it. The 5080 is faster than the 9070 XT. It has better ray tracing, and DLSS is better than FSR.
Yeah.
But we're talking about a £400 price difference and a graphics card that is fighting the 5080.
It's 20%.
20%. Now that's a reasonable bounce. You're going to notice that.
Yeah.
But 20% for £400 more. What are we talking about, man? Like, this is why the 5080 is irrelevant to me. Because, yeah, it's 20% faster, but, like, you're paying 50% more for it.
Yeah, because 20% more would be 660. Roughly.
Yeah. It's insane. Like, what are we talking about with those kind of price differences? That's why the 9070 XT is a darling in my eyes. Just simply because it's even fighting the NVIDIA flagship. Even if it loses that fight, it's the underdog that had the Pyrrhic victory, you know.
Oh god, it's like 80 to 85% more expensive. That's wild.
But the kids demand RTX, and they're wrong.
No,
Yeah.
no, they're not wrong. They're not wrong for demanding RTX out of everything and everyone. They're wrong for paying 80% more for 20% more performance.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Paying 20% more and getting 10% more performance with the 5070 Ti, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me if you're die-hard NVIDIA.
Yeah, how much is the 5070 Ti? Because
I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to.
I'm expecting to be horrified because
Yeah, because I was going to say the
they
5070.
don't exist.
Yeah, the 5070 Ti was kind of relevant, and then Nvidia basically said stopped making it. They said they didn't stop making it, but they said we'll make one per year. It has not been discontinued, and I'm like, if you're making one per year, then it doesn't exist.
£800.
Yeah, no, you lose. Game over. GG. Go buy a 9070 XT. Unless your workflow requires Nvidia, what are we even talking about?
Yeah. Also, Nvidia knows its price isn't good because it's bundling Resident Evil Requiem with its GPUs. And you only get game bundles when they know their graphics cards aren't good value.
Yeah, fair. Or when they're trying to make sure they sell, yeah. And AMD works better in Linux. Yeah, normally I wouldn't score that, but right now that's starting, you know, the it works better in Linux argument is starting to become relevant to me. Just because, like I say, I have this mad vision that maybe this is the year of the Linux desktop to me. Are you laughing at that statement or something?
Yes.
You're looking? Yeah. I don't know, man.
It's more the fact of it's the year of the Linux desktop.
This is my
Alright, BGs.
nebulous
Disco
term.
fever.
Yeah, this nebulous term, whatever that means, you know. Yeah. And you just simply had a skill issue. Who knows? Right. Windows 12, let's go. We don't know. There are rumors about what Windows 12 will look like. I don't think Windows 12 is going to look like what it's rumored as. I think Microsoft had ideas of what Windows 12 would look like, and they said, these are ideas of what Windows 12 will look like. At the height of the AI hype train, they said Windows 12 will be an agentic OS, and everyone will have an NPU. However, right now we're looking at that being like, my brother in Christ, there's no planet where that's going to happen. And so even though Microsoft said these are our ideas, I can't see any world where that's actually what they're going to go for. Like, for example, requiring an NPU is a non-starter, because while NPUs are common on a lot of new devices, like, it's going to be a couple of years before everything has one.
Don't forget that AMD desktop CPUs do not have one.
Yeah.
And never have, and never will. There is no plan to include them.
Yeah.
All the way through Zen 8.
Yeah. And like,
Therefore, it won't work on desktops.
but then you'll have the graphics card, which
But that's not an NPU. And if it requires an NPU, it won't work on desktop.
Yeah, but
And
then
it will only work on Arrow Lake.
yeah, but then again,
Because Nova Lake won't have
hold
an
on,
NPU.
stay with me.
Yeah.
I agree with you, but also like if functionally any gaming class graphics card is capable of running small stuff,
Oh yeah. I'm just saying the requirement of an NPU
or a
cannot be a requirement.
or a
yeah.
GPU equivalent.
Yeah, there
you
can be
know.
a minimum tops requirement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. So that's the thing. Like when people see tops, they think NPU, but like
Yeah.
the GPU can do that. So that means that, you know, like they say, oh, it's going to require an NPU. It's like, okay, or a graphics card equivalent. You could that might be what they
yeah.
end up going with.
Yeah.
However, if they did say strictly NPU, then it's DOA. So
yeah.
yeah,
Literally
So
won't work on desktop.
that's it. So, yeah, exactly. So, in which case, Windows 12, as Microsoft have hinted at, big air quotes here, because there's nothing concrete, then it cannot possibly pan out the way it's currently looking at. So, there's lots of rumors of what Windows 12 might look like, but none of those rumors make any sense in the real world whatsoever.
Yeah.
So at the moment, we can assume that anyone that is reporting on that is lying, wrong, or there just is not enough information yet.
Yeah.
Either way, we don't know what Windows 12 is going to look like.
Yeah, and also indirectly, technically, probably going to have to, leave it at least until October next year
Yeah.
for when Windows 10 will have been dead
Yeah.
for 2 years.
And on top of all of this, Microsoft have citation needed, but Microsoft have been on the record saying that they are dialing back on the AI Copilot stuff. That like Microsoft, high-end Microsoft executives have been on the record saying, "Okay, we've read the room. We get it. You're kind of done with Copilot." Now we don't know what that means. We don't know how much they're dialing it back by, but the rumor do come out that Microsoft read the room and realized that everyone hates it. So that's the thing. So I do agree. I think that people should be looking at alternatives right now. I think people should entertain the idea of alternatives, which is why I'm working on this Linux video. However, also right now we just don't know. Windows 12 as rumored doesn't make sense, so we cannot trust that as a vision of what Windows 12 will be.
Yeah.
Because there is no planet where it would come out in that condition. So, yeah.
Apparently, it was from a German newspaper that already dismissed the information as their fault not checking properly for sources. Okay.
There have been lots of rumors about this. Like this week, there was an article that came out that was like AI generated of AI generated of AI generated. It's almost like AI is garbage.
Well,
Anyway.
there's nothing wrong with the with that. What there is a problem with is
What
the
people
fact
are doing with it.
well,
I know.
not even that. It's the fact that no one's actually even reading the source article.
That as well. Yeah.
People are reading a headline and then going like, ChatGPT, generate an article based on this headline.
Sure. Yeah. Either way. Yeah. The point is, based on just stuff that Microsoft has said, that is where the rumors came from. Because like all rumors are generally based on some. Sorry, that's not true. Most rumors are generally based on some kind of truth. It's usually a matter of like Microsoft said at some point we have a vision that Windows 12 will be a modular agentic operating system, and everyone. But the problem is that everyone will then take that and run away with it and be like, well, everything's going in the direction of software as a service, so it's probably going to be subscription based, and Copilot Plus is subscription based. Therefore, Windows 12 will be subscription based.
Yeah.
And that's how you end up with stuff like this. So it's based on ideas of where Microsoft were looking at the time, but we're so early in the cycle that Microsoft's vision can be swinging wildly around right now before it actually settles on what Windows 12 will actually be. However, this weekend, not tonight, but tomorrow, I'm going to take my Fractal Torrent off my desk at home and put my LAN box with Linux Mint on it, and I'm going to daily drive that for a week, at least a week,
Fair.
and we'll see. More cider? No, I've had enough. I'm into my gesticulating wildly stage.
However, if you super chat $500,
We'll $500 and we'll stay live for another hour. No cap. I'm serious because I said no cap. I don't even know what cap means, but I don't have any of it. I've enjoyed this stream in Carbon. Shut up, Sai. You just want to go to bed.
well, yeah, he needs to go to bed for the 4 a.m. restart.
So Mint is an option, says Firephone. Mint is just one Linux distro, and it's a highly recommended one. It's the one that I've chosen. There are many others, but yeah, I'm not super into I hinted earlier on, but I'm not super interested in the idea of these fashionable distros like Bazzite and stuff like that, because they all have ideas of making this gamer-oriented Linux distribution, and I think if you need to install an operating system that is gamer-oriented, you've already lost. I think if you want to start speaking Linux, you need to learn that language. and this is why I chose Mint, because it's something that is modern enough and currently updated enough to have modern drivers and all the rest of it and support all of this stuff. However, it didn't come with everything pre-installed, so I get to see what it looks like when you actually need to install something. And that was remarkably easy so far, and like Bazzite is kind of dead in the water right now because there's a lot of moderator drama with them, and I think the immutable kernel where just certain bits of it just cannot be updated, I'm like, then what's the point? Why did you switch to Linux then?
Because you'll need to do kernel updates at some point.
Yeah.
You'll have to randomly do a kernel update.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm not saying that Mint is the correct answer, it's just an answer. But this is the reason why I chose Mint. I wanted the middle ground.
Yeah.
I think the big incumbents, like, Ubuntu and stuff like that, are probably a little bit too slow to move. And so you're going to run into things that don't work. As an example, one of my friends a couple of weeks ago did some Linux testing. And they said that they were trying to get their VR headset to work. Now, I can't remember if they were using their Vive or if they were using their Big Screen Beyond. However, they couldn't get it going in Mint, but it did work in Catchy OS or some other one they did that was a bit more cutting edge. So that's an example of where you need something that is a bit more cutting edge. But also, I'd imagine that if they'd spent some time, they probably could have upgraded Mint into that cutting edge.
Yeah, probably.
And, they're not messing around with a distro that is someone else's play toy. This is the problem Bazzite has, is the Bazzite moderators are treating it as their testing OS. There was big drama in the Bazzite community because one of their big contributors basically will look at something and be like, that looks cool, push to production. And Bazzite is supposed to be this ultra safe, unbreakable distro.
Yeah.
And this guy is just like, I think that's cool, so we're pushing it to production. So it might just break at any moment because this dude thought he wanted this, So, and that's why I chose Mint, because I'm like, pretty sure they're a bit more stable than that.
Yeah.
So, whatever. I don't know. I can't remember. I Google searched Linux Mint and downloaded the one that said Linux Mint. Let me just quickly check. Mint. Home Linux Mint. This is the one that I got.
22.3.
Linux Mint. That's what I've got. I clicked download because I Google searched Linux Mint and clicked download. So yeah, year ago you didn't like Linux. Time has changed. You've got to move with the times. If it is time for me to learn Linux and stop hating Linux, then the time has arrived. I am allowed to change my mind. I have no obligation to be the person I was 5 minutes ago. When I learn something new, I can change. So yeah. So if I have actually tried Linux and I've been like, you know what, I was wrong about Linux, it's gotten good.
I think
so be
it's
it.
also just the case of the fact of Steam fixed a whole bunch of the problems.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Now, I'm not going to say that it's thanks to Linux. Valve and Steam have put in a huge amount of work. And also, I haven't started daily driving it yet. There is every possibility that when I start daily driving it this week, my opinion will shift downwards a lot as I run into things where I have to start dicking around.
Yeah. Are there...
However, certainly the start point was far slicker than I ever thought it would be. So, yeah. Yep, I have installed Steam. I went to steampowered.com and I clicked download like I would on Windows. It downloaded a .deb file. I double-clicked on it and it went brrrr, and then Steam appeared. And then on Steam, I clicked on...
Sorry, it did what?
It went brrrr, and Steam appeared. And then I clicked on the 5 recent games that I played, and I clicked install, 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 and then I started them up one by one, and they just worked at the expected performance. It automatically installed Proton. It automatically did everything. I didn't have to do anything. I have not opened the command line once. I have not touched the command. I haven't even opened the package manager. The only thing I've done is I've clicked it every now and then it pops up in the corner saying there are updates available. So I click on that and I click update, and the package manager opens and it says I've updated, and I go cool, and then I close it again.
Fantastic. You can use LibreWolf on Arch. I'm set.
So yeah. Deb is the Debian package manager. Yeah, absolutely. But like, this is my point, is so far I've not had to do anything. And a normie could do this. A normie could do this. That's my point so far.
Has it required reading
No.
at any point of things like download or install?
I mean, I'll rephrase that. A normie who is capable of clicking download and then double clicking the installer in Windows. So yeah, okay, I'll give you that one. Normie is a dangerous term to use here. However, like, the average gamer who has, the average gamer who understands that they download a thing and then they run the installer. That's the standard I'm trying to get to here, I'm not asking for power users. So yeah. How were the FPS? The FPS was fine. It was exactly what I expect. I've got a 6800 vanilla in this PC, and the FPS was exactly what I expected for a 6800. .deb is like an exe. Precisely. That's my point.
.deb and .rtm? No?
Can't remember.
What's the other one? Anyway, the other one.
Yeah.
They are simply containers
MSI. Yeah, it's more like a .msi.
Yeah, they are
That's a better
the
equivalent.
container of the program.
RPM, yeah.
The program itself can run on either setup, yeah?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I think so.
Just because there isn't an RPM available, you could run the same program on an RPM OS.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
As long as there is a quote-unquote Linux version, it will work on any version of Linux. It just might be harder to install. Question?
Pass. Don't know. Yeah. That's the thing. The point is, so far I have not had to use any of my technician experience. The closest thing I've needed to technician experience is to actually install it in the first place. I had to download it and use Rufus to make a USB bootable drive and then boot from that.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that requires technician experience.
Yeah.
But come on, we've got to pick our battles in a way here, So yeah. So that's the thing. Like, so far, it's been a dream. However, this week I will be asking. This week I will be asking it to do a lot more, and I will be expecting a lot more of it. I'm very early into it so far, but the fact that right now that computer will just boot up and play games.
Yeah.
Everything else I'm going to ask from it is power user stuff.
Yeah.
It's already won the initial fight by the fact that it starts and runs Steam games. It's already won. But the next thing I'm going to do is ask it to do game streaming. I'm going to need to install OBS on there and get that set up, which means my capture cards and my webcams are going to need to work. And I'm going to want to do video editing, which means I'm expecting it to be able to do transcoding. I'm expecting a Handbrake equivalent. I'm going to expect it to run VR and stuff like that. Now, yeah, that's obviously another fight. I'm now going over and above what the average gamer is doing, but I can do that on Windows, so I expect Linux to do that. And I can do that on Windows by just running installers, so I expect Linux to do that just by running an installer. So yeah. Paul Daniels has been doing it daily. Yeah, absolutely. I know it can be done. Don't get me wrong. I know it can do it. But does it require me to spend a day messing around in readmes and command lines?
Yeah.
Because if it requires me to do that, it has lost, because Windows does not require me to do that. So yeah. Yeah, I know Handbrake is a Windows app, but there'll be a Windows equivalent. A Linux equivalent. Handbrake is a front end for FFmpeg, and FFmpeg definitely has a Linux version because it's open source. But I want a user interface for FFmpeg because I don't want to have to do command lines to transcode my video.
Oh. You could just get Handbrake for Linux.
Oh, there you go then. Win.
You will have to possibly do it via FlatHub, but that's fine.
If it comes in by a package manager, that's fine. I will dock points if I have to install like 5 different package managers depending on what app I want to get, but only slightly. You know, it will be slightly annoying if I have to keep installing a new package manager just to get the app that I use, because I don't have to install a dozen different package managers on Windows. I just download the installer.
Yeah.
However, package managers are still easy enough because you click, I want the thing, install, and it does it all for you.
I think FlatHub will basically.
Yeah. I'm Infinite says you won't be installing new package managers. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's also probably in most of the other ones, but just going straight off the Handbrake website, it's available for Flatpak.
Yeah. Flatpak stinks, apparently. However, apparently I'm going to need it if I want to get Handbrake. And also...
to download it off of the Handbrake website, instead of just going into your distro's packet manager and
searching.
Guess,
yeah, I could search it in there,
because your package manager on your distro is your app store.
True. Yeah, likewise, you know, the virtual desktop equivalent I need for VR that my friend sent to me, like he said via Flatpak, but maybe he said that because he doesn't know what package manager I have, so he just said Flatpak. But if I search for that on the package manager that came preloaded on Mint, maybe it's there. Maybe I don't need to do anything else, in which case, cool. You know, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot. I'm not going to willingly walk into the wall when I can see that there's a door next to me. However, I am trying to approach this from someone who expects it to just work, you know. So, yeah.
There is also Arch Linux for ARM. Interesting.
Yeah, you go.
I wonder if that would work on M1 Max.
How to do, yeah. I expect someone like Graham with his technical mind should have no issues with Linux. See, there's not a doubt in my mind that I can figure it out. But also, the thing is that you shouldn't... If Linux wants to be taken seriously, then you shouldn't need to be a technician to use it. That's the thing. If Linux wants to be an actual real alternative to Windows, you shouldn't need to be a technician to be able to use it. That's the problem. And like, don't get me wrong, I know that it's going to be different to Windows, and I know that you're going to have to expend some effort. I'm not asking for the world. But, you know, for everyone saying, oh, why would you use Windows 11 when you can use Linux? Yeah, but like, we're not all technicians. My friend group, I'm the most technical person in my friend group. And there's a couple of other people who are fairly technical, but still, half of my friend group are just people who turn on their computer and play games in Steam. If they can't figure out Linux, then Linux isn't viable. And it will not be taken seriously as an alternative to Windows. In which case, why are we talking about this? Because they're just going to run Windows. So in which case, Windows is still the dominant system. That's the fight that we're actually talking about here. That's the actual thing. I'm not saying that Linux is good or bad. I'm saying if you want Linux to actually be an alternative to Windows, it has to be that simple.
Yeah.
That's the cold hard facts. You know, it's not meant for plebs. Then it's never going to be an alternative to Windows. And people will just keep running Windows, in which case that will be the only system I care about because that's the system everyone is running. Why should I care about Linux if everyone is running Windows?
Yeah, and all of the companies that release stuff for PC only release a Windows version.
That's the problem here. That's the problem that we have to solve here. Now, I want Linux to be great. I want to give it the benefit of the doubt. I really hope this goes well. But, you know, you'll get a commercial derivative like SteamOS. Then that has to be good. You know, that has to be relevant. Let's say I'm running SteamOS and I'm like, cool, I want to print this. Can I use my printer? You know, like, so far the answer seems to be yes, because my Linux Mint install automatically found my printer on the network without me even asking. I just noticed a printer icon in the bottom right. I clicked it and it said, would you like to print to your HP printer? And I was like, huh, cool, good job. You know, but still, this is the thing, you know. Yeah. Look at Android. Yeah, Android just works. You have an app store, you install the app, it just works. You know. So this is the thing. And like, I'm not saying that Arch needs to be this user friendly. You know, if people are running super extreme distributions of Linux like Arch and so on that are designed for power users, cool, power to you. But there has to be some distributions available that are actually accessible. My understanding is that Mint is one of those accessible distributions.
Yeah.
So yeah. The Steam Deck has no clue what a printer is. That's it, you've lost. Game over, GG. Because some people want to print. A lot of people want to print. And that kind of sucks, because printers suck. But that's the problem. Because at some point, some guy is going to be like, cool, I need to print off this document. And you say, oh, it doesn't support printers. What do you mean it doesn't support printers? Windows supports printers. I didn't need to use a special version of Windows for my printer to be supported. You have lost. You lose. They go to Windows. It has to do everything Windows can do. Otherwise, it just loses. So yeah, I know printing in Linux works. I'm using it as an example. Do you see what, you know, you get what I'm saying?
Are you capable of understanding analogies?
Yeah.
Because if you can't, this conversation is pointless.
Yeah. So yeah, you get the point, you know. I can use old hardware like my scanner and all my printers work. Cool. Yeah, this is what I'm looking to find out. Like, for me, if VR doesn't work, that's a deal breaker for me.
Yeah.
If I can't get my VR headset working, I'm going back to Windows.
Yeah.
And I will continue to use Windows because I can't use my VR headset in Linux. And I will say to people, no, Linux was bad for me because I couldn't use my VR headset. Windows can run my VR headset. And people will be like, oh yeah, but that's because it's got better support. Cool, so I'm going to use the thing that's got better support. You know, that's what you're up against. That's the attitude that you're up against. That's what you have to actually win. You know, it doesn't matter how technically better it is. It doesn't matter how open source it is. It has to win hearts and minds for actually solving people's problems. So yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it won't do any of this. That's why I'm testing, because I believe it will. I'm going to be giving it the benefit of the doubt, and I want it to work, and I will do my utmost to make it work. Don't get me wrong, I'm coming at this from a very optimistic angle. But that's the bar that it has to meet. That's the bar it's got to get across. Right. Past that, though, we are well past the 3 hours marker. I have run out of cider.
I have run out of the happy juice. I am now sad. Therefore, I am leaving.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Oh my gosh, we're coming up to 4 hours. All right. There is MacOS. Yeah, go buy a MacBook Neo, everyone. Okay, that's fine. You didn't fully commit. All right, we're leaving. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. 1 extra hour, $500. You all heard the price. That's how much it costs. I will be back tomorrow on Twitch playing more of Disco Elysium. We will be back next week with something else. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for putting up with me. I'll see you all soon. Goodbye, everyone. Bye.
Goodbye. Bye.